Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to License to View, a weekly podcast on the internet where two best friends get together, talk about pop culture, movies, TV shows, anime, video games, all that jazz. I am Jason. With me, as always, Zach. What's going on, man?
Oh, man, another day, another week of not any news coming up because it's
No,
goddamn virus.
no news. Every
Literally
week,
nothing.
it's consistently just like more things delayed. That's it.
That's really the only news we got at this point. Is no things delayed, Dune's still on schedule. That's
Yeah,
all that's really.
it's no news or nothing coming out. Delays. Companies are failing, and then Christopher
Yeah,
Nolan's still going to have a movie come out on time.
Christopher Nolan's still going to have his movie come out on time. I mean, look, if the movie theater's open, I'm there day one.
Oh
So,
yeah. Well, everyone's gonna be there day one.
yeah.
You know, I do want to preface this before we start the podcast. I
Tell me.
I bought this. It's 9 a.m. So I
Yes.
probably shouldn't be drinking this, but it's 9 a.m. Who cares? I Bud Light lemonade.
They have lemonade now?
Now I've had lime. I've had
the orange. I've had orange. I like orange. It reminds me of like Shock Top.
Yeah. The lime's good. I've had the orange as well. I bought a multi pack yesterday.
Okay.
So this was in it, and I had one last night, and it was okay, but it was kind of like it lost some of its chill.
Oh yeah.
So now it's freshly chilled, but also my refrigerator kills hops. So let's see how it tastes. Here's a review right now.
All right, tell me. Swirled in the back of your
Don't
throat?
know how I'd feel about it. Not bad. What do you sip
Well,
it on?
I mean, as far as Bud Light's concerned, that's about as much as you can hope
Yeah, right. What do you sip it on?
for. I have, in the past year, I've gotten to the point where it's like, just for an easy drink for me, it's like seltzer's like the best thing for me. So it's just like it's like every other week now. I just go and I like buy a pack of White Claw because it's just like the easiest thing that I can just pull out. I can like down two, and I'm like fine. I'm good to go. I'm like on a nice enough buzz
Wait,
where it's
so
like
is it not? It's seltzer water.
it's seltzer water with alcohol in it.
See, to me, seltzer water just tastes gross, man.
I don't know. I thought that too because honestly, like the first time, because somebody got me started on it in Myrtle Beach where we were at the beach, which is also it's like a great thing for the beach because it's like it's not. I don't know. It feels better to drink on the beach, but I've been one of those guys that like I was never super into the what the fuck is it? The the Kansas shit. What the fuck is it called?
Beer.
It's like this. No, it's the super like popular seltzer.
Oh,
Like
LaCroix.
LaCroix. Like I've
Yeah.
never been a big fan of LaCroix. Like I think LaCroix tastes awful. But I don't know, there's something about it, just like maybe it's just alcohol, but it just tastes better to me. I don't know.
I remember I bought a 6 pack or whatever box or whatever it's called of LaCroix,
Yeah.
and I was like, I never really had seltzer before, water before,
Yeah.
and I opened it up and I tasted it, and I was like, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah,
I
I hate
remember
LaCroix. I don't know why. It just
thinking
doesn't taste
like,
good to me.
why would anyone buy this over carbonated water?
Yeah.
Like Sam's Club carbonated water is infinitely better.
Mm.
Carbonated water in general is infinitely better than fucking seltzer water to me.
Mm.
Like the people who drink those big green ones,
I don't even remember what
it's like I don't know, like the big, tall green
Yeah, I know what you're
seltzer
talking
water
about.
bottles. I don't
It's like
understand it.
Alka or something like that. What the fuck is it?
Like
It's like
is
Alka Alta.
is seltzer water not just club soda?
I think there's I think it's similar to club soda. I don't know if it's the same. I'm not sure.
I'm fine with club soda in my mixed drinks, but not
Yeah.
just to drink by itself.
That's kind of what the thing is that it's kind of is just like a club water or like seltzer like mixed drink basically.
Right. I don't know. Well, this is License to View. It's an
Tell me.
early Saturday morning. Before we
It
get
is.
to our little minuscule
Harrier.
oh
That's what
yeah,
they're called.
yeah, there we go. Before we get to our little tiny little chunk of news, which is very, very
Very small.
slim, what we've been up to this week. Zach, have you
Yes.
been up to anything? Playing games, reading comic books, movies, TV shows? What you been up to, man?
Well, I made the promise last week and I fulfilled the promise because I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake last night actually.
There you go.
I haven't 100% completed it, but I did the main story. I like it a lot. It's really fucking fun. It's probably one of the better it's probably one of the more just from a actual like gameplay aspect and like from the battle system and all that. It's probably like one of the most enjoyable games I've played in like a really really long time.
Right.
Like I don't know. I know that there's hard mode there, and hard mode does a lot of shit where it's like, I mean, it just not only are enemies tougher, but they take away a lot of options away from the player to like make it more difficult. Like you don't get items, and you don't get your MP recharged at like there are like benches in normal that like restore your HP and MP. Um, in hard mode, you don't. It just restores your HP. You don't get your MP back, so you have to be a lot more selective with your spells. And you don't get items at all, like not even out of battle, so you don't. So you can't get your MP back normally. So, yeah, no, it's an interesting challenge. I don't know if I want to take it on yet. There's a lot of stuff that I still want to complete in the game, but I had a really fun time with it. I had a lot of fun playing it. The story gets a little bonkers in the end, even for me that like doesn't know a lot about Final Fantasy VII's story outside of like the mainstream pop culture of like what
Right.
everybody knows about the story. Um, it takes a real, and even after I finished it early yesterday, and so I basically spent like all last night just like listening to other people's reactions to the story of like people who know their stuff. Like Maximilian did like a 2.5 hour long like spoiler cast where he talks about what he liked about the story, his impressions of the story, and where he thinks the series is going forward. And I thought that was really interesting. I listened to Rocco's video where he
Mm-hmm.
talks about his impressions of the story, um, and I think I agree with both of them for certain parts of it. I think it definitely the last chapter definitely adds a weird. It does the thing that a lot of Final Fantasy VII, or not a lot of Final Fantasy VII, a lot of Final Fantasy games have been doing in the past like 10 years, where like it makes things strangely convoluted
Right.
in the Kingdom Hearts way, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that Rocco brought up. And I understand where he's coming from, but I don't know. I'm still interested to see where it goes forward because even taking that part aside, you still had like 30 hours of like a really fucking incredible game and an incredible story with amazing characters that I haven't seen done in a video game in like a really, really long time.
Right.
And so I see the apprehension with the end because of the Kingdom Hearts stuff. And I mean, Rocco's whole point, and I get where he's coming from, but I also think he's like, his perspective is that he's been burned too many times that he's not even willing to like have excitement or like have any sort of like optimism about where they're going forward with it, which I can see that because I mean, since like I haven't played Final Fantasy 12, but I mean, one of the first mainline Final Fantasy games I played was 13, and I couldn't even beat that because it's so fucking convoluted and boring, and it does like some weird out of the box shit that was like, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck is going on anymore.
Right.
Um, and that's basically been Final Fantasy for like the past like 15 years. It's just like this weird convoluted stories and bullshit that like people like for the most part don't like and think is really really dumb. And they kind of sprinkle that in this last chapter of the remake, which also tells people that it's not going to be a perfect one for one remake going forward, or at least it implies that. Max has a whole theory where he's saying that they're implying that so that they can actually do the one for one and it actually hits a lot harder and it gives you those same emotional highs that you had when you had playing the first game, which is an interesting point. I don't know if it's actually going to play out. Um, I mean, really, at this point, these are just a lot of theories, and we won't know until the second game comes out. But
Right.
for my part, I'm super excited to play the next game and see where we go next. And I'm excited to get back with these characters. And even, I mean, they introduced Red 13 in like the last like 2 chapters of the game, and you don't even get to play him. And I was like, fuck, dude, like I want to play him. He looks super fucking rad. You play as fucking Simba in a fucking Final Fantasy game? Like, I want to do that shit.
I
So,
remember like when the first one I ever played really myself, I believe it's Final Fantasy X,
okay.
and I watched I mentioned before on the podcast my buddy's older brother was playing a bunch of Final Fantasy games up to 10 before it came out. So I
Right.
was watching him play a lot of these games when I was young. No,
Mm-hmm.
I remember specifically him playing Final Fantasy 9,
Mm-hmm.
and because that's the same time he showed me Street Fighter hentai. So that's the first that is ingrained in my brain. And it wasn't even actually no, it wasn't even hentai. It was just the fucking Chun-Li boob scene from Street Fighter 2 the movie.
Oh
That's
yeah,
all it
that's a
was.
great scene.
That's all it was. But I remember finally playing Final Fantasy X because I remember I didn't have a fucking memory card for my PS2, so I had to keep leaving my PS2 on. So I'm
Oh
playing
damn.
it and eventually I got a memory card. I remember being like, I'm probably getting details of it wrong now after not playing it for so long, but
Mm,
Titus, however you pronounce it,
mm,
like you're a dream. Like you
yeah.
play the whole game to find out you're not real. Like you're a
Yeah.
dream. And then you play 10-2 to find this dream. And to
Mm,
me, that was the beginning of, you know what? We're just gonna watch M. Night Shyamalan movies and
yeah.
maybe we'll just follow that concept.
Yeah.
And I'm just generalizing because I haven't played 11, I didn't play 12, I didn't play 13 or 13 Returns or whatever the fuck the games are called. I didn't play any of them. But for
Those 13 games suck. So
my friends have always said that it gets convoluted. Like lightning
yeah.
is gonna run through these worlds and it becomes like Dissidia or some shit like that. From what I understand on the outside.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played any of the others like 13-2 or Lightning Returns or any of that shit. But yeah, I know at some point it gets to that point where it's like, yeah, she's like dimension hopping or some weird fucking shit, and she's like the savior of like the entire like
Yeah,
all of the dimensions of Final Fantasy or some like convoluted fucking shit where everybody was like, what the fuck is even going on anymore?
that's one of the reasons, and that's that Kingdom Hearts shit that I don't care about because I hate Kingdom Hearts. I think
Yeah,
Kingdom
I know.
Hearts is the most convoluted, stupid ass game, and this is coming from a guy who adores Metal Gear. Like
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts, I think is the most stupid thing in the world
yeah.
because to me, I can justify Metal Gear, right?
Mm,
Spy shit. Kingdom Hearts is convoluted for no fucking reason.
mm.
Organization and their souls, and then you die, but you're heartless, nameless, fucking whatever. Like
Yeah,
realistically, Metal Gear Solid isn't that convoluted. Just a lot of double crossing.
yeah.
That's really
Well,
all it
there's a lot
is.
of timeline stuff, but it's not like time traveling in Metal Gear. There's just a lot of different timelines going on at the same time, so that's what makes Metal
Yeah,
Gear complicated.
and there's a lot of like, okay, well, you have a couple clones. This is what kills him. This is what kills them. There's a virus here. There's Fox die there. Fucking there's this
Yeah,
project was this project. That person was that person's dad. Blah 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 blah. But in Kingdom Hearts, it's like fucking okay. Well, who's Roxas?
I think the main problem with Kingdom Hearts for me, because I mean, I've played a lot of the King. I haven't played all of them, but I played a lot of them, and I really enjoyed the beginning of Kingdom Hearts because I think in the beginning it's not this super overly complicated thing. I mean, in especially the first Kingdom Hearts is like it feels like a Final Fantasy game, especially playing like remake, where it's like I don't know, you have your main party and you have your cast of side characters and you have this main overdriving mission against this like big bad. And I mean, for me, the Kingdom Hearts story, at least for like the first game, it's not a complicated story and it's easy to follow and it makes a lot of sense. I think the problem with Kingdom Hearts is the more that you get into the series, the more complicated it becomes, not because of just the story in and of itself, but it's also the fact that you have so many different games across the main problem is that they're across so many different fucking systems. And so a lot of people don't have an opportunity to play a lot of these games. And the problem is that every single one of these games at some point adds something to the Kingdom Hearts story. So if you miss one game and you don't know what's going on in that game, you'll get to a later game. You're like, I don't even know what like where the fuck does this show up? Like the whole part of Kingdom Hearts 3 is like a big part of that game, from what I understand, is like from the PSP game. Not a lot of people play that PSP game. I didn't get to play the PSP
Well, no,
game,
the big
and they'll justify that saying that they have all the remasters and stuff that come out that like put them all on like one system or whatnot. But it's like I don't have time to like put the Kingdom Hearts is a Final Fantasy level game where like to beat it it takes like 30 to 40 hours. I don't have time to put 30 40 hours
well, I think
into playing those games again.
the biggest flaw that Kingdom Hearts has is not just directly putting Kingdom Hearts 3 out right after 2.
Well, yeah, that
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 like
when that goes into the
because you
all
could have just
there's a lot of different
you could have
games.
wrapped that story up and like if you did like a 5 year later thing, like 5 years late, like wait 5 years to make the next game, Like you could have wrapped that story up and put it on the PS3, and it's been like, here's the complete story instead of putting it on the DS and then putting it on the PSP and then putting it on the fucking cell
Yeah.
phone. Like all this bullshit. And
Yeah.
then maybe it could have been still an out there story, but still concise. Whereas
Yeah.
for people like, specifically like me, I'm not sure about you. You actually have some sort of fondness for Kingdom Hearts in a sense. Like I remember you were excited for 3 to try it. You know.
I was excited for Tree to try it. I played the first like 2 planets, and I haven't really picked up its sense. I don't know. It picked up its sense. I don't know. When I tried Kingdom Hearts 3, the battle system didn't grip me because I mean I think that's one of the biggest things that I also really love about Final Fantasy 7 Remake to try to tie it back to that is I mean Nomura directed the remake and he also directed Kingdom Hearts, and I think a lot of the things that I like about the battle system, specifically in like Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, kind of carries over into the remake where it's much more action oriented. I like the scroll down, the ATB like slow down, which I mean you don't get slowed down in Kingdom Hearts, but the scroll through battle of like, you know, the real time reaction options that you have to choose between like magic and summons and all that kind of stuff. And I really enjoy that kind of battle system, and I think that's one of the big things that like especially in like 1 and 2 that they got like really really well was that battle system that got me to get further into those games and like figure out the story and enjoy like where the story's going. Now after 2, it's like I really lost track. I really didn't play many games after 2. I mean, I played 1. I played Chain of Memories, which was the Game Boy Advance game, which introduced the card battle system, which was like it's not as fun. It gets a little better when they ported it to PlayStation, but it's not as fun. But 2, I think two's battle system is like one of Kingdom Hearts 2's battle system is like one of the funnest I had until probably this remake, where it's just like it's very action oriented. I mean, you've got your attack button for your basic attacks, you've got magic, you've got summons, you've got items, you've got all that shit. You've got your party members, that you can switch out for your different cast of characters. And I just really enjoyed that, and I think I think that's one of the big things for Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is the battle system is so enjoyable that you're willing to go along and see where this story's going. And then I mean, for Final Fantasy VII Remake, they also do a great job of making you like fall in love with these characters and like want to be invested in like where these characters going. Where it's not just you're invested where Cloud's going, you care about Tifa, you care about Aerith, you care about Barrett, you care about all these people. And then that was huge for me because even playing the demo, I was not a huge fan of Barrett. I mean, I get his like super eco terrorist thing. It's like it's fine, it's fun, I guess, but I wasn't like super sold on it as first. But like playing through this whole game, it's just I like Barrett a lot more now as a character. I see where he's coming from. I enjoy specifically his relationships with other characters, and more specifically his daughter. I like that father-daughter dynamic in storytelling. I don't know. It's just something about that storytelling that always grips me. I really like the father-daughter stuff that shows up in any medium, and so seeing that his relationship with his daughter and like learning more about his past with like Shinra and like before he was an Avalanche and stuff like that, which you learn through later in the game. I don't know. I just think they did a really, really solid job with the story. 95% of it until you get to that chapter 18, which is something that Max talked about a lot in his spoiler review, and I agree with him, which is, 95% of the game is like 10 out of 10, like fucking like the cream of the crop rise to the top, like that fucking like, this is what I want in a fucking video game. And then you get to chapter 18 and it kind of like does some weird shit where you're like, I don't really know what's going on, but it's clear that even through you don't really know what's going on, it's clear they're setting something up, and so I'm willing to see
What they're doing.
what they're setting up to.
But are you willing
So I think
to
it all
wait
really depends on
5
like
more, 10 more years?
well that's actually the interesting part, because I just finished listening to Pat and Wooly. They haven't in their latest podcast, they hadn't beaten it yet, but they'd almost beaten it. And so I mean, and they're like Max, they know a lot more about Final Fantasy VII than I do. And I think I'm willing to incline with their opinion that they don't think that the second one is that far away.
I hope
Because
not.
after playing this game, for them, a lot of stuff that gets set up in this game is like mechanics and things that you would need for like the second part, where I guess you get to was Niflheim, I think, is like the overworld. There's a lot of set up for different mechanics, so like material mechanics and like the way that your character leveling is set up, and like the way even like you gain ascensions, like you only gain two, or you only get the way you gain limit, or you only gain two limit breaks in this game. And so the amount of like stuff that they're setting up so that they can expand upon it in the second game, they, at least this is their speculation, that is probably going to be like 2 or 3 years until we get the second game, which I would be stoked for. If we only had to wait like 2 years to get like the sequel to this, it's still gonna be a long fucking wait. But I'd be super rad if we're that close. Like we, please, I hope we don't have to wait another 15 fucking years. But
I will say this still. Wait 3 more years, make the whole fucking game one thing. That bugs the fuck out of me. That bugs the shit out, because it's a complete. When the game first dropped, there's a guy I follow on Instagram, and he follows me, powerlifter guys, and he's a nerdy guy. I've never met him before. He lives across the fucking country. Never met him before. We only purely interact on Instagram, just by liking him doing some lifts, and then whatever. I'll comment a joke, and he'll whatever, right?
Yeah.
But he posted an Instagram story being like, "This is a fucking such a money grab, and fuck this game." And I messaged him being like, 150%, absolutely, looks like some Kingdom Hearts ripoff. That's a money grab. Now, I don't think it looks like a terrible game. I think it visually looks great. And I'm cool because that people who haven't played the game before, like you, or like even like me, could, or no, people like me who fucking don't remember jack shit about the fucking convoluted ass game, can play it and enjoy it. But it's absolutely a money grab. And even if Square came out and said years ago, hey, this is what we're doing, that still bugs me, because to me that's still a proof in the pudding of the game industry having a problem of something. Whether it's too many DLCs, too many alphas, too many betas, stuff like that. Just finish a product and put it out. And that's what bugs me about this, because, how would you feel if fucking you got half a Marvel movie? Like, that would bug me. That would bug me. Like, oh, well, if and the rebuttal could be, well, look at Endgame. Right, Endgame was two separate movies, but to me, it's not the same. It's two separate things. You could have ended the Marvel Universe at Infinity War and just ended it there. But hey, you had 10 years. Here's the end of it. Guess what? You're all fucked.
I think going off that argument though is I think the way, specifically the way they set it up and the way that the ending goes in this story, is I think they really do a really good job of, I mean, if they are going to make it multiple games, which I mean they are, I think they do a good job of justifying this being a second game, where I think it does have an Infinity War ending where it's like this could be a definitive stopping point. And now, because I think this game, and I think a lot of people have made this comparison, so I'm not original with this, but this game is like it's like Final Fantasy VII, like Yakuza. So it's like that kind of like gameplay where it's like, I don't know, the story's very linear, but at points there's side quests that you can do. But for the most part, you're traveling around this place and the story's linear and it's going where it's going. And that's one type of game. And so I think part of the aspect of doing multiple games is that for the second one, I think we are going to see a very different type of game, which I think if you did that, first of all, doing like an 80-hour game is like one game is like, I don't know, that's kind of fucking insane. Because, I mean, there could have been some, you probably could have trimmed like 10 hours out of this, but at the end point, I mean, like, people are expecting that it could be like 3 parts, so that's like, even if you did that as one game, that's like 60 fucking hours, which is like fucking insane.
Yeah, but the game was won before. It was a finished product.
But I also think the game was shorter, because I mean, even from what little bit I've played, what I played of the original Final Fantasy, it took me 25 hours to get to the point of what I'd originally played. And what I originally played, of like when I bought it and played it, that was me playing the game for like 2 or 3 hours at the most. And so, and what the original Final Fantasy did in like 2 or 3 hours, it took like fucking 25 hours to get to that.
I don't need the fucking Cloud walking through the city listening to people talk. I don't need that. That's filler. That's purely filler. And if you want to say, oh, it's potentially a world-building thing, but we have enough world-building in Final Fantasy VII as it is. People fucking love that shit, right? So to me, it makes me go, okay,
how much? People who know it love it.
How much are we going to just be? How much are we just going to be adding filler into these games to fill out a 12-hour experience? Maybe not. Maybe zero. Maybe not. But the idea that a company is going to go, you know what? I'm going to give you a unfinished product and say it's finished. Because whatever, we already have the story. We know the game. You can go on Wikia right now and find the entire story of the game. Even
Yeah.
if they change stuff here and there, you're gonna go, well, you changed it from the prior one to make people whatever. Like
Mm.
if George Lucas fucking say, you know what, I'm gonna give you Empire Strikes Back, but just half of Empire Strikes Back. Like
Mm.
we knew a trilogy is three separate finished products to
Right.
make one overarching story. This is one game separate into three separate games. Like you're taking a finished product already and then breaking it down to three $60 full price games. So you're paying $180 for the same story, minus stuff here and there that are different, versus a game that was finished in 1997 or whenever it was done. And on principle, to me, that just screams money grab. You know, like if you're gonna make a remake of a game, I mean, shit. Like look at Doom. Like you're gonna remake Doom, finished product, and then we're gonna build off of that original remake that we had and keep making more story. Look at Wolfenstein. You know, we're gonna take
Mm.
Wolfenstein to OG game. We're gonna remake it and we're gonna reboot it in this way and keep making sequels off of that. I mean, if Fallout and Skyrim can keep coming out and be these massive fucking games that are so interactive,
Mm.
Square has no excuse to me, except for we want to make more money.
Mm.
Look at how big Skyrim is. You know, those games take a while. Look at GTA. You know, look at fucking Red Dead. Those games take a while to make, but when you get them, GTA 5 came out what, 7 years ago?
I think maybe
It's still one of the
maybe
most
almost 10
popular.
years ago. Like,
Still one of the most popular games. Like people are still fucking playing that shit all the time
yeah.
because they invested the time to finish a product. And you can't tell me, Zach, that Final Fantasy VII Remake is even close to the level of world building or intensity that GTA 5 is from 10 years ago.
Mm.
You can't because you'd be lying. The level of intricacy that comes into GTA 5 or a Skyrim or a fucking Fallout. You know, that Fallout 4 is a game that fucking they just took fucking New Vegas and whatever. But the idea that these companies sunk time in and then finish a product, to me, I'm tired of like going on Steam, but hey, you know what? Buy an alpha, and we're gonna be an alpha for 5 years, and then maybe we'll give you a final game.
Yeah, I mean, I see that point. I get where you're coming from with that. I mean, one of the biggest things is like the Riot games with the Valorant. It's like the
Yeah,
fucking beta for that. But I think there's a difference between like an alpha and a beta. And it's like, when are we ever going to get a finished game? But I think, I mean, for me, it's like this is a finished product. It is a finished game. Like it went gold. It's out there.
you know it's not finished, Zach. If the
But
game,
I also I think the thing about that is that it's not, regardless of like, I think one of the biggest things is that they might have mismarketed it, because I think it's not a remake. Because I think, and especially hearing like Pat and Wooly talk today, as I think, and hearing Max talk, is like, it's not just dealing with Final Fantasy VII, the core game. Is that there's a lot of stuff in this game, and a lot of the filler in this game is stuff from the expanded Final Fantasy VII universe. There's a lot of stuff from Advent Children. There's a lot of stuff from novels that came out. There's a lot of stuff from Crisis Core that comes in to play. And so it's not just dealing with one specific game and remaking that. I think the remake comes into the fact, I think it's mismarketed, but I think the remake might be coming into, it's not remaking Final Fantasy VII, the game. It's remaking Final Fantasy VII, the universe as a whole.
but if this game ended right now and it sold like shit, and they Square said, you know what,
Right.
we're canceling the game. We can't make 2 and 3.
Right.
Would you be satisfied with how the game, knowing that you know that the game actually ends a different way? You see what I'm saying? Like that
I
would
think if you
bug the
did,
hell out of me.
I think for people who know Final Fantasy VII, I think it would be disappointing. I think for me, who doesn't, I mean, I know the pop culture shit, but I think overall is like taking like the Final Fantasy VII goggles off, like
Does Aerith die at the end of
as
this
a
game?
game story.
Does
I think
Aerith
it
die?
does a
Does
good
Aerith
job
die
of
though at the end of this
No,
game?
she doesn't die.
So that alone, the game's not done because you know
But
already.
that's the whole part of the game where it's like,
You know
there's
already.
a point where they talk about fate, and it's like they put that nugget in your brain where it's like, maybe she's not going to die.
Yeah, that would be dumb because that's one of those moments.
But maybe she's not going to die.
She's gonna die. But like if this game,
But maybe not.
like if this
Maybe
game
you
came
can
out
fight fate, Jason.
and they went, you know what? Sorry guys, in some alternate universe, this bunch of fucking geeks didn't buy this game, so we can't finish. Or
First of
maybe
all, you're underestimating geekdom right there. Where you
no,
think the
no,
geeks aren't going to buy Final Fantasy VII.
no. That's why I said an alternate universe
Well,
because
there's
a
okay.
bunch of fucking every nerd's buying this game. That's perfectly fine by all means. But like in an alternate universe, if this game didn't sell well, or if there was
Yeah,
some crazy thing where they couldn't make the next two games or whatever, how many they're doing, 5, 6, 7, 10, or whatever, it wouldn't be a satisfying conclusion. And because we know Aerith dies, and that alone gives Cloud the motivation to continue on to beat Sephiroth. If she
right.
doesn't die, who else can replace it? Because it can't be Tifa, because they were barely friends when they were kids, right? So like the idea that like you're getting a part of a story, it goes down to the principle of this, right? If Final Fantasy VII came out and was like, hey, by the way, this is a multi-game series, I'd be like, 10-4 copy, got that. Or even if Square said this, Final Fantasy Remake Disc 1, I'd be like, gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
got you're saying Disc 1, got you. Copy that.
Yeah,
But
I
Remake,
think it goes
that's
to the thing
bad.
where I talk about where I think the marketing is bad, where it should have been remake part one or whatever, or something
Absolutely.
like that.
Absolutely, because,
I agree that the marketing for it, the title for it should not have been just straight up remake
but even,
because it's not just a straight up remake.
and even though they've been saying that it's been going to be multiple parts, I understand that. It still comes down to the fact that, and for me, that I hate not having a finished product. Because even though it's finished, it's on disc, you can buy it right now. It's not a finished story. When they have finished a story before, and I know games companies can make games big enough to fit. Because I've seen GTA, I've seen Red Dead from 12 years ago, whatever, be this massive game with characters and story. I've seen GTA or Red Dead from this last couple of years. That's fucking massive, right? And so much intricacy and in depth. So I know it's possible. To me, it just shows a level of we know that we can sell this game in parts to make money because people aren't buying Final Fantasy games, so we're gonna make a game and just sell it. Whereas for look at Resident Evil, right? I said this a couple weeks ago. Remake 2. We're make it cool. We're gonna have some new updated mechanics. People like the Resident Evil 4 style, so we're gonna have that. We're gonna add in some fun little Easter eggs here and there, things you remember from the old game, the original game, and
Mm.
we're gonna be done. Boom. A year later, 3. Boom. We worked on it. We finished. Now I'm not saying that the Resident Evil is on the same scale as Final Fantasy. Of course not. But it's the idea that another Japanese company is gonna make a game, finish it, sell it at the same. Is Resident Evil $60? Do you know?
Yeah,
So they're gonna
yeah. No,
sell.
when it comes out at
They're gonna
$60.
sell a complete game at retail price, and it's finished. There's no more extra shit. And just intuitively, it bugs me that Square did that because I know it's not done. I know it's not done. And
Right.
that to me is a money grab, and then I automatically go like shrink when companies start making money grabs. It's one of the reasons why I didn't see Charlie's Angels. Besides it looking like shit. I didn't see Ocean's 8. Besides it looking like shit. I didn't see Ghostbusters. Besides it looking like shit. You know, stuff like that where they're just playing off of a nostalgia, like literally like Ghostbusters, and to me it shows bad signs of a company. Um, like I would rather have Square been like, you know what? Here's Final Fantasy. Was it 16 be the next one?
16 would be next
Here's
year.
Final Fantasy 16. It's a whole new shit. We know 15 took 15 fucking years and it sucked dick. Here's FF16. You know what? And it fucking rules. I'd rather have that than be, hey, by the way, all our A team producers and programmers are working on Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 and 3. I'd rather have Final Fantasy 16 be kick ass and brand new
Mm.
versus, a game that I saw when I was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And maybe things here and there are a little bit different, but really, ultimately, we know Aerith's gonna die.
Mm. I can see that.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. But also the boss fights in this game are fucking sick as fuck,
No, I mean,
dude. God
I
damn it.
mean, the game looks great. The game looks great. I'm not denying that. It looks cool.
Ugh.
It looks awesome. I'm glad that it looks good.
Those last couple of chapters, those boss fights were like,
If
you face off against Rufus Shinra, and it's like I want a battle system where you can fucking play as this boss because he has
Right.
the sickest fucking shit. Where he's got shotguns and he like fucking zips around the field with his fucking shotguns. He's got a fucking dog that like fucking kicks the shit out of you, and it's like, God, this character's so fucking cool. He looks anime as fuck, where he's got the long jacket, and he's got weird buckles that don't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
Love it. Love that anime bullshit.
Well, you know what, Zach? I will pray for you and hope the game comes out fairly soon.
I hope so.
Not,
You know what? Honestly, if it came out in like 3 years, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. As long as it doesn't take like 10 years or some fucking bullshit. But I don't think it will, because I think they've made a lot of progress on this game. And hearing Pat and Wooly talk about it, the stuff that goes into the later game, the amount of stuff that they set up in this game that won't even be fully utilized until the next game, I don't know if it'll be that long.
I mean, but setting up some of the means doesn't mean anything. It's like, look at how long we've...
But I mean, it does, because it means like I mean, not like setting up story. I mean, like setting up mechanics. Where it's like, that's less work you have to do later on.
But like, even setting up mechanics, that's fine. We'll work on those mechanics in 5 years. I mean, like, we'll scribble down the idea for the mechanic, and we'll start hashing it out after a virus, and then after people get a break, and then after we work on something else for mobile, after we work on something else for this game, after the A team has to go from Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 1 to whatever the next game they're going to do. You know, to me, that is the deterrent that it's going to have. And I don't know how many people are going to... I mean, every game is going to sell well because it's fucking Final Fantasy 7. If it was like Final Fantasy 4, no. But if it was like it's Final Fantasy 7, it's going to sell every single fucking time. And every single fucking time, I'm going to say, you sheeple. Enjoy it. I'm glad it's fun. I'm glad it's doing well. But it's a prime example of one of those things that IGN's going to give a 10 out of 10 for the sake of being Final Fantasy 7. I don't know what they gave it. I'm assuming a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. I don't know.
I don't know what IGN gave it. I know GameSpot gave it a 10 out of 10.
IGN, FF.
I mentioned IGN. They probably gave it a 9. Because that seems like an IGN thing to do. Where they wouldn't give it a perfect score. They'd give it like an almost perfect score. They gave it 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Wow, they gave it an 8. Wow. All right.
So, I don't know. All right, Zach, what else you been checking out, man?
There hasn't been too much I've been checking out a couple of animes. Going back to the father-daughter thing that I was talking about before, there's one anime that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because it fits really, really well to that, which is, it's got Japanese as fuck name, Kaku Shigoto. Basically, the whole premise of the plot is that the father is a manga artist for a dirty manga.
Oh, okay.
And he has a small daughter, and the whole point is that he's trying to keep her from finding out that he's this famous manga artist for this dirty manga. And so there's a lot of hijinks and stuff that ensues around that. It's a lot of fun. I'm having a great time with it every week that it comes out. And it goes back to I just love father-daughter relationships in any media, and so seeing like that aspect where it's like father he like only wants the best for his daughter, he loves her a lot, and he wants her to have the best life, and he doesn't want to have like the stigma of like who he is as a manga artist, like hanging around her and like, or her thinking less of him or something like that. It's just very cute, heartwarming story. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. But the biggest thing, I have a question for you, Jason.
Sure.
Have you ever got lost in a binging section where you come out the other side and you're like, I just lost 3 hours and I don't know how?
You mean like in the sense of like you enjoyed it, or like you mean like
in the sense of like I enjoyed it and it was just like it's so comforting that like you don't even pay attention to like what's going on besides like the fact that you're watching the show.
Yeah, all the time.
So I did that with Forensic Files this week because I realized that Forensic Files is on Netflix.
Okay.
And fuck, dude, I didn't realize I could get lost in like watching like fucking 4 hours of Forensic Files.
Oh, dude.
Because that's why I didn't beat Final Fantasy 7 as early as I did. Because I put on Forensic Files one day, and it was like 5 hours later. I was like, I don't even know what the fuck happened. I've watched like 15 episodes of the show.
I only binge stuff. I don't watch anything one episode at a time, right? So
I've been trying. I used to binge a lot of stuff, but I've been trying to not do that as much because I realize specifically I try to do like, especially with like hour-long stuff where I try to do like one episode at a time, because it's like, specifically with the HBO stuff where it's like The Outsider or Westworld or stuff like that, where it's like if I watch it too much, I burn myself out too fucking fast.
Right. Well, I mean, I watch like usually more shit than I talk about on the podcast, only because half the shit I watch is some sort of like docuseries show. So whether it's a true crime thing, I'll binge watch an entire 4 hours of like a Netflix one or something, or a Showtime one, and I watch it straight shot, So that's the 3 or 4 hours that I'll just binge. The worst ones I have though are this, Zach, which are you binge something, for like 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, and you go, well, you know what? I really don't know what I just watched.
That's fair.
I just watched it all, and I sat there and watched the entire thing. And at the end of it, you go, "What? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was that good or bad?" That's how I feel about watching like The Flash
Yeah.
or like Arrow. I'm like, okay, I watched this
Yeah,
entire
all the
thing, and
CW shows have that for me for sure.
you know,
Besides the Flash, because I honestly really enjoy the Flash, but it's like when I'm watching Arrow, or when I was at the point where I was like, I binged season 1 of Supergirl, and I was like, I don't even know like what the fuck I'm watching
well,
right now.
I'll give you a
It's seeming
perfect.
good.
I'll give you a perfect example right now of some stuff that I'll dip in some stuff that I watched this week.
Okay.
Which, speaking of Final Fantasy VII,
All right.
most of what I watched this week is all remakes of old
Oh
TV
my
shows.
god. Holy
So,
shit. Miami Vice.
well, that's a movie. I haven't seen
Hawaii
that.
5-0. Well, they didn't. Aren't they doing a Miami Vice TV show right now? Are they not doing that?
I don't know. Maybe.
I thought they were. Are they not? Maybe I'm just like pulling that on
I
my
mean,
ass.
I would believe it.
They got Hawaii 5-0 out there though.
That's just
I
ended.
know that. That's a remake, isn't it?
Yeah, just ended though.
Yeah.
So
Was that on A&E or whatever?
CBS.
CBS? Oh.
Yeah. So there's a lot of TV shows that I watched when I was a kid with my dad that he watched when he was a kid, which is why I watched them with when I was a kid. And one of those was the original SWAT from like 1975. No, he watched that
Oh,
show.
shit.
I liked the show when I watched it with him when I was younger. They made a
Mhm.
movie in the 2000s with Colin Farrell,
They did, and Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson. And there's a song in the movie that makes me fucking cringe. It's so bad. It's in the very beginning where it's like,
Is it LL Cool J's song?
how's that
'Cause
song
he's
go?
also.
How's it go?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I thought
Time
I
is
hoped
running
you were
out.
gonna tell me.
Number one. Time is running out. Number two. It's so stupid. I fucking hate that song. But it makes me think of that movie. And it's like, I don't know. So that movie blows. But there's a remake on TV. It came out a couple years. It's on air now, but it came out a couple years ago. It has Shamar Moore in it. I think is his name. The black
The
guy from
dude
Criminal Minds.
Yeah, Criminal Minds. Okay, I didn't
And
realize that was a SWAT thing. Okay.
yeah, it's called SWAT. It's a remake of the show. He plays the main character from the show,
Okay.
Hondo. And I watched the first 10 episodes of the first season, and this is a prime example of a show that I binged for 8 hours yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fucking
Is that in
whatever.
one air? In
It's
one air?
it's literally just these CBS shows and like shows on network TV or whatever the fuck they're called
Yeah.
are literally just this. Hey, you know what? Here's some bunch of bullshit. Here's some jargon. Here's the stupid setup that we've seen 1,000 times.
Mhm.
Literally, the first episode of SWAT, and it's fine. It's a fine network TV show,
Yeah.
right? The first episode, Zach, I want to give you the premise or a part of this episode, and you're gonna tell me, you're gonna guess the next part of this, okay?
Okay.
So, in SWAT, the first episode, the sergeant of the squad, shoots an unarmed black kid on accident when they're chasing some bad guys. Bad move.
Bad move.
He gets fired.
Okay.
Shamar Moore gets promoted to sergeant right there. He didn't know it was happening. Uh-oh. But his best friend, who's been on the squad longer than him, should have been next up. So what happens, Zach? What happens here?
They get in a fight over who should be in charge, and then they end up the guy who was there longer ends up respecting the fact that Hondo is the better person for the job.
100%. Now, second trope. Well, old sergeant, he got fired, but he had one request before he left. To put this new rookie from Long Beach on the team.
Oh, there you go.
So, now, Zach, describe this rookie if you can. Give me, what do you think this rookie is? How do you think this rookie is?
Are we going based on current TV tropes?
Just current TV tropes.
Is it a girl or is it a guy?
It's a guy.
Okay. I'm gonna say he's a white guy.
Uh-huh.
He's never fired his gun before. He has some sort of, you know what? He's probably a hothead, and he probably thinks he's like the fucking coolest thing since sliced bread. Now that he's on this fucking SWAT squad.
Opening scene of this guy. He's driving his motorcycle 100 miles an hour down the road doing wheelies.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the 2 episode arc is, listen, Street, we're a team.
Mm-hmm.
We move in unison.
Yep.
That's literally the fucking most boring plot lines.
Yeah.
But I watched 8 hours of it. Because it's literally just like popcorn TV.
Yeah.
Again, as someone who is in this field of work,
Hmm.
it's so it's I take crime shows with a grain of salt because a lot of it's
Right.
bullshit. And this is LAPD SWAT, and they have a whole building to themselves that has a boxing ring in their command center.
Nope. Not gonna
In their
happen.
command center, and they're just always at their home base, like using like tablets and shit, like a fucking CIA. And I'm
That
thinking,
reminds me of the shit from fucking 22 Jump Street where they like go into their fucking HQ and it's some weird like futuristic shit. Yeah, and they got
it's
all that
there's
shit
like
in there.
tablets and fucking all this. There's like a command room with a fucking like touch screen like desk,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what world do you think that SWAT? First off, is there
Well, that's the
24
problem with
hours?
all of these crime shows where it's like every single crime show, whatever team you're following has to be the team that does all the shit. Even if they don't do all the shit in real life, if you're following them in the show, they have to do all the shit.
Well,
So if you're watching NCIS, they have to be the team
yeah.
that like they fucking track down the terrorists and they
Well,
fucking use the
Zach,
fucking
you're
video and
skipping
shit.
out another trope. There's two squads. There's
Oh,
their
yeah.
squad and the other squad. So guess what happens with both squads?
Crossover.
There's a rivalry.
Oh, damn.
A lot of like, oh, you know what? You didn't get this one there, did you, Hondo? I'll get you next time. Fucking shit, dude. Fucking shit, bro.
Is there even more than one SWAT team on any force? I feel like
Okay,
it's
so
like if the
at
SWAT
a
team is the SWAT team.
at a massive department like LAPD, it's going to be a fucking humongous SWAT team.
Okay.
Like probably like fucking 50 guys and
Okay.
girls, right? But for a small like 400 person department, maybe 20 people,
Okay.
because you're not being called out all the time,
Right.
right? And even in the show that act like they're being called out all the time, SWAT's called out very not very rarely.
Yeah, it's very rare that SWAT
So like
gets
there's
caught.
literally in the first episode when they're running through a building, there's guns traffickers, and they're running through a building and there's regular cops get there first, like uniform cops patrol, and one
Yeah.
guy gets shot. So they're returning fire, and then SWAT comes in, and then the fucking no, the one girl on the team who's probably a lesbian, goes to the patrolman and goes, "Hey, you okay? EMS is on the way." And I'm like, bitch, they know. They also have your radio.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about TV cop shows
Tell me.
that is so inaccurate that bugs the hell out of me, but it makes me laugh. Is that they
Okay.
talk on the radio whenever they want.
Right.
They'll be like this. Oh, go ahead, pass it on through. Oh yeah, blah 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 blah. And they'll talk on the radio, right? When in reality, it's this. You pass it on the radio. Copy that. Beep 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 beep. Oh, hold on. Someone else is talking.
Mm-hmm.
And you wait for 4 fucking minutes, and then you fucking transmit your own transmitter. Whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm watching SWAT. I watched 8 hours of that. On episode 10, it's fine.
Okay.
Another remake that I started watching,
Tell me.
same network, Magnum PI. Okay.
Holy shnikes, the bushy mustache is back.
This, well, no mustache. And
What?
No mustache, and he's Mexican.
That is a detriment. He's
it's-
gonna have a mustache.
I'm on episode 6, excuse me, of the first season, and it's, again, it
He
is.
really doesn't have a mustache?
No mustache.
Damn. Lost opportunity.
It's TV. It's fine. It's not good. It's not great. It ain't the original, but it's TV. It's something to watch, I guess, if you're bored. It's something to watch if you know, just like watching people shoot guns or like, have really bad car chase scenes. And that's my problem with network TV or whatever the fuck this is called, like CBS, Fox, all that kind of shit. Like, all these shows are so they put in such minimal effort.
Yeah.
And then the output is also trash, but people still like it. That's why shows get canceled all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Any like new show gets canceled, but these current ones are just remakes. So the other show I watched that's also a remake is MacGyver.
Tell me. Oh yeah, I forgot that they did a MacGyver remake.
And now this show is definitely the best of the three in terms of the rebootness. The biggest problem I have with the MacGyver reboot is that he has a team of people with him. The original MacGyver, Richard Dean Anderson, aka Colonel O'Neill from Stargate SG-1, solo guy.
Right.
Would just travel the world, do solo shit. This one has to have a team, and each member of the team has to be every single quadrant of your
Wasn't that
diversity scale.
basically that epic show? What the fuck is it called? Leverage?
Leverage, yeah, that's TNT.
Yeah, TNT. Okay.
And I loved Leverage because it made
Yeah.
sense. Leverage was like, hey, you know what? Everyone has their own skill set.
Right.
We're all thieves in a different sense. I like that. But MacGyver, he's supposed to be the guy who can just
Yeah, he's supposed to be the guy who like can do.
help.
He has like a toilet paper roll and he can fucking like
Yeah,
get at anything.
help. He'll figure it out. So, I'm watching those just because I'm fucking bored. I watched so much shit the last week that I wanted to just decompress with just bullshit TV, and that's what this
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Last three things, real quick. I decided to do a journey and watch every Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh my god.
So I
But you hate
started.
Quentin Tarantino.
I hate Quentin Tarantino. Well, I like the first two movies. I don't like everything else. I don't care.
Fair enough. So how did this go for you?
Reservoir Dogs. It's still good.
It's great.
Pulp
Probably
Fiction.
one of his best movies.
Yeah, I agree. Pulp Fiction. It's still Pulp Fiction. It's fine.
Yeah.
People overhype it, but it's fine. It's a good movie. And then I started watching Kill. I skipped Jackie Brown. And
I really like Jackie Brown. I don't like that people don't give that show, that movie, the credit it deserves.
I think it's his. I think it's his one of his best movies for
Yeah.
sure. But then I started watching Kill Bill because Kill Bill's on Hulu, I think.
Yeah, Kill Bill's great.
And
Well, part one is great. I really don't like part two that much.
I got through the first half of Kill Bill 1 and was like, yeah, okay, I think I'm done. I think I got
Honestly, it's like, I don't know. I don't remember how long this is into it, but it's like once she gets past the like 100-man slaughter or whatever, it's like I'm like, it's fine.
That's pretty deep in.
I'm kind of over it though at that point. Once she gets to Lucy Liu, I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's like,
because Lucy Liu's the last boss or whatever.
Is she?
The first movie, yeah.
In that movie, okay.
Yeah, she like scalps her.
Oh yeah, I forgot she does scalp her.
So I watched that. I watched Pulp Fiction. That's obviously Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to mention is that I tried to start this and I just couldn't for the life of me.
All right.
Netflix's new Ghost in the Shell.
Is that out?
Oh my god. Oh.
I actually didn't know. Is that actually out?
It
I had no
looks
idea.
like such shit.
I'd actually heard memes. I'd seen memes about it, but I didn't know that it was like they were like legit. Like I thought that they were like just people fucking with it.
No,
all right. Fuck, dude.
When the trailer came out like 6 months ago or whatever, I instantaneously disliked it. I mean, everyone put thumbs down. But then I started watching the first episode and it looks
and this is their new standalone complex, right?
Yeah, it looks so phoned in. Yeah. The animation looks like trash. The models look like trash. It looks fucking terrible. I'm so tired of fucking CG anime bullshit. Like
honestly, in like the Ghost in the Shell world, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. The Rise stuff was good though, because I watched those three Rise Ghost in the Shell Rise movies. I like those movies.
They were great because they were actually animated.
Yeah,
like they were like 2D animated.
Mm-hmm.
And this fucking 3D bullshit looks terrible.
Yeah,
it just further disrespects the great fucking anime movie and the manga. It's trash. I hate it so much, and I'm not gonna finish it because I watched the first 2 minutes. I was skimming through it, and the opening scene is of the Major driving a fucking like go-kart with a Tachikoma on the back, driving through the fucking desert in America, and it looked like trash. Nope, I'm good. I'll watch something else.
Not a fan of it.
All right, well that's all I've been checking out. Let's just fucking hit this news real fucking fast. I guess the only one that really fucking matters. We mentioned earlier news stuff real quick. Christopher Nolan, Tenet is still coming out July 17th.
He's still got the faith, baby.
The other thing I saw was that Chris Hemsworth is playing Hulk Hogan in a biopic.
I saw that. I'm excited for that. I think I think he could be a pretty decent Hulk Hogan. The thing is that are they going to do? I mean, it's Todd Phillips, so this is a Joker. Are they going to actually go into the fact that like Hulk Hogan was like has a reputation behind the scenes? Are they going to break the kayfabe?
Of what? In which sense, though? What do you mean? Which part?
In the fact that it was like he was like very selfish and he was like not willing to like help other people out if it like didn't help himself in some way.
I'm going to assume that he's going. They're going because the whole point is that they're trying to show the backstory of wrestling, and I mean, you can't just show wrestling in a positive sense because it's not. You know, it's a business.
Yeah.
So they would have to show the steroids, and they would have to show the injuries and the pain addiction and the drugs and all kind of stuff. Because even if they're
Yeah.
not showing Hulk do it, they're going to show the locker rooms where people are doing it.
Oh wait, hold on. So this is the real question. This is a real question right now because this is a
Right.
Hulk Hogan documentary.
Uh huh.
Who the fuck is gonna play Randy Savage?
Who knows if they're even gonna fucking
Dude, if they don't have Randy Savage in this fucking document in this biopic,
because it might just
that's
be
fucked
like
up.
maybe they might not even have any in the ring stuff. It might just be like behind like no outside the ring shit, which would be a mistake.
That would be
It
a
would be a
huge
big
mistake.
mistake. You'd need to have some in ring stuff, at least like
You have to, because I mean it's fucking Hulk Hogan. You can't do a wrestling biopic and not have something up in
because
the
they would have to cast Randy, and they would have to cast Miss Elizabeth, and they would have to cast if they go all the way up into the WCW.
They got to
stuff,
do Andre too.
Andre. They have to go into the WCW stuff with him leaving WWF. They have to go into all that shit. NWO.
You're gonna have to get
all
yeah,
that.
Razor Ramon, all that good stuff.
So I really don't know. I mean, they're not even in this interview. This is from IGN, but I don't know where the original interview came from. Hemsworth said that he hasn't even read a script yet, so it's still far out from even starting.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine so. I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, right now, I don't see too much.
Plus, they're gonna have to like, I mean, and they're not gonna go into the more recent stuff, is what the interview said. They're not gonna be going into the whole scandal stuff, which is fine,
Right. They're not going to go into, like, Gawker and all that shit.
But you don't need to because you have enough interesting stuff with just.
Yeah,
with
I
just
mean, his
wrestling
whole...
alone.
Even the first half of his life is, like, way more interesting, so...
But what do you think they're gonna call it though?
Oh... I don't know. It's got to be, like... I would hope that they would kind of almost do, like, the Mr. Rogers approach to it, where they take, like, one of his catchphrases and make it, like, the title of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope for that.
I think they're. Here's my two guesses.
Tell me.
I think that my first guess is gonna be called "Real American," which is his
Okay.
song, and then the other one's gonna be something with the play on like brother.
Yeah, brother.
It's one of those two, I think.
I could see that. I can see real. I honestly could probably see "Real American" being the title of it. That sounds. It's a pretty solid title.
Real American, the Hulk Hogan story.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So that's really it. That's all the news. There's nothing really else going on. Chris Pine's gonna be the new Saint, but no one cares because no one knows what the Saint is anymore.
I like the Saint. I'm excited for that.
I do too. But I like the
I
Saint
think they
too,
actually did. I think Netflix has it that they actually did like a recent like remake of the Saint is like a TV show or something like that. I think it's on Netflix.
Is it American or is it something?
I think it's French.
Okay.
But
so maybe they just did a French TV show and Netflix picked it up.
maybe.
Because I mean, even when I was watching the fucking,
I don't think it was like I don't think it was a Netflix original or anything like that.
Right.
I think Netflix like picked it up, but I think there was like a remake of The Saint as like a TV show. I think, or maybe it was originally a TV show.
Well, the Saint,
I only know the Val Kilmer one, so
I knew the Roger Moore one and the Val Kilmer one.
oh, I don't know the Roger Moore one.
Roger Moore, before he became James Bond, he was the Saint
Okay.
for like 8 or 10 years, and then he became James Bond.
Okay.
So, I mean that's fine. Chris Pine's cool. I feel like Chris Pine's career really didn't pop off the way that he thought it was going to go into.
Well, I think it started off pretty good because I mean it really started with Star Trek, and everybody fucking loved it.
It really started with I didn't know this about him.
Huh?
I came home from work one day and my girlfriend was watching Princess Diaries 2.
He was in the Princess Diaries?
He was like 20 years old in like the Princess Diaries.
Oh, fuck me. I didn't know. Damn.
Him and young Anne Hathaway, yeah. But I thought he would have been like a big ass leading man, and I think the problem is that if he was an actor in like the early 90s, he would have been like a Van Damme. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see him being like a Van Damme or even like what's the guy from 30 Days a Night? Josh Hartnett? I could see him being like a Josh Hartnett almost.
But since those movies went away, I mean, he kind of,
Yeah, he hasn't really done much lately. I mean, he did his biggest thing was Star
Well,
Trek was probably well, he is in Wonder Woman, so he's
he was
got
in
that.
Outlaw King, right?
Yeah, he was in
That
Hell or High
Netflix movie.
Water. He had the Jack Ryan attempt at a reboot for the Jack Ryan series,
You
which
know,
didn't pop off
you
for
know the
him.
weirdest movie I can think of right
What?
now. This is not even weird in the sense about the story's weird, but in terms of casting, This
Hmm.
Means War is the weirdest movie I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, when he was with fucking Tom Hardy.
And
I
Reese
forgot about that
Witherspoon.
shit. Yeah, I forgot about that
Can
shit.
you think that Tom Hardy was in a movie with Reese Witherspoon? Tom Hardy.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
That's so fucking weird,
Uh,
man. Because to me,
it's very strange.
Tom Hardy is pretty much
Where
like
he played a comedic role. Tom
yeah,
Hardy was in a comedic role in that movie. Wait, hold on. Was Chris Pine?
yeah.
This is Chris Pine was in Smoking Aces. I don't remember this.
I haven't seen Smoking Aces.
I
Oh
saw
yeah,
I saw it a
he
couple of
was.
times.
Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah, he played the he had a yeah. I remember that from the trailer.
I remember Ryan Reynolds. I don't remember him. Who the fuck?
Maybe I'm thinking of Ron Reynolds. Man, never mind. Maybe I'm thinking of Ron Reynolds.
I definitely remember Ryan Reynolds.
Right. All right. Well, hey, you know what? We're gonna move to our last topic of the show, which is essentially, it's gonna be our last topic of the show is gonna be Final Fantasy VII Remake. No, no, it's gonna be Final Fantasy VII Remake and why it should be canceled. No, our topic of the show is going to be Star Trek, but since we had no news at all, we decided to switch it up a little bit.
True.
And for fun, we did this a little bit recently, but since we had more time to kind of dive into it, I want to do, and that'd be fun to talk about our top 10
Yeah.
favorite movies of all time, our top 10 lists currently. That changes all the time, but our top 10 current favorite movie. Now, Zach, I want to ask you
Yeah.
this.
Tell me.
Before we start listing off, I'm not sure if you have any couple of what's it called when they don't make your list? What's it called again? When
I don't know.
they don't make the list, but they're like the ones that could have made the
Oh,
list.
honorable mentions?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you have any honorable mentions. I have a couple honorable mentions.
I have a couple. Yeah, I have a couple.
But I wanted to ask you this: like, when you're compiling your list of favorite movies, favorite TV shows, favorite actors, whatever it is, your favorite list,
Yeah.
which is essentially no high infidelity, whatever, but
Mm.
high fidelity, high infidelity.
High fidelity.
When you're compiling your list, like for this list, what goes into your list? Is it movie quality, actors, director, story, rewatchability, fun, laugh, dramatic, the movie actually being considered good quality? How are you compiling your list before we dive into the list, or honorable mentions before we dive into those?
I think the main thing, I think the number one tier for my list, specifically for me, is rewatchability for me. Because for me, I don't know. I don't know if you can really consider something your favorite if you don't watch it multiple times. Because if it's a one and done for you, then it's like, is it really your favorite? Like, do you really want to? Can you really consider it your favorite if you don't want to like dive back into that world and like revisit those characters again? Because for me, that's like it's something that is like this is my favorite thing that I love it so much that like I want to experience this over and over again. And I want to keep diving into this world and diving into these characters. So for me, I think rewatchability is like the top tier of like that's
Right.
the thing because if you want to go back into it, then obviously it has something special for you
Right.
at some point.
I 100% agree. To me, that rewatchability and number of times it has been rewatched
Yeah.
is definitely my number one filter for determining top 10 movie. And then nostalgia comes into play.
Yeah.
The way it makes me feel when I'm
Yeah.
watching it. The vibes,
Yeah.
as the young kids would say. So, Zach, give me. I think we should do 10 to 1. Number 10
10 to 1.
10 number 10 down to 1.
Okay, so that's the problem for me is that I listed them, but it's been hard for me to like.
Bro, you have.
categorize
This is a top 10 list, Zach.
It's a top 10, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for the top 10.
This is a top 10 list. We have to go now. Before we get to the top 10, I'm gonna give you a moment to maybe reorganize in your mind. But I'm
looking at my list right now, and I'm trying to like reorganize and figure out what goes where.
Because I sat for an hour and made my top in order top 10.
It took me an hour just to find the fucking movies that were on this fucking list.
So, I want to do 3 honorable mentions that would have made your top 10 lists, but just didn't, or maybe they're 3 that rotate in and out of the top 10 list, or however many honorable mentions you have. I have a lot, but I'll just name three.
I think I've got two off the top of my head, which
Okay.
is no, I've got three. Okay, I've got three.
Okay.
As far as rewatch, and this is like they're the honorable mentions are like heavy on the rewatchability, and there's like not much else to them. Like I've watched them a bunch of times, and there's not much else to them.
Right.
Which is I've got Baby Driver on that list
Okay.
of honorable mentions.
Now, fun. Hold
Uh,
on, real quick.
yeah,
6 months ago, that was your favorite movie.
it was true, but I've reorganized, and it's gone down. It's
Okay.
still a good movie,
Right.
but I think there are other movies that get into the nostalgia era, and I think have other factors to it besides rewatchability.
Okay.
I still really love everything about Baby Driver. I love the soundtrack. I love the characters. I love the plot. But I think specifically for Baby Driver is that I think it's a little too new
Sure.
to keep on the list.
No,
So
another
it's
another
honorable
filter. Another filter. I got you.
Another filter.
Okay.
So I think
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver is honorable mention. Men in Black, the original Men in Black, is an honorable mention. I fucking love Men in Black. That's
Great
like
movie.
classic, good movie, classic Will Smith flick. It's got the good mix of comedy and sci-fi that I love together. And the chemistry between Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones is like just so fucking perfect that it's such an easy watch for me that I love Men in Black. I love it.
It's a movie that has such unexpected world building in it.
Yeah, crazy shit. Just like all the stuff was just like even when they first step into fucking MIB headquarters, you see all the like immigration line for aliens is like the most insane fucking world.
Also,
building.
just really great effects. There's really really great effects.
And, great practical effects, great costumes,
great effects, and the one thing about that movie that confused me when I was a kid, I always thought I was in Washington D.C. for some reason.
Okay.
But it's in New York.
Yeah, it's on like
also I feel like
it's like the Bronx.
Yeah, and also I feel like the one thing
Manhattan,
about Men in Black 1, I feel like the armory is too small.
It's very small,
it's like a glass
especially
room
compared to later movies where it's
like
yeah.
It's like one little glass section of the office.
There's one, and then they've got the second armory where it's like the trunk. So it's like it's definitely small compared to like later movies for sure.
So Men in Black, what's the third?
The third one for me is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's great Western, great characters. I think it's of the Fistful of Dollars trilogy. I think it's the best of the trilogy. As far as storytelling, the characters that they've got in there, the atmosphere that Sergio Leone makes, it's just fantastic. I love watching that movie. And I love that fucking the final draw, three-way standoff at the end is such a perfect fucking ending to the movie. I love it.
I would agree. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
My three honorable mentions, in no order, are one, RoboCop.
Oh yeah, RoboCop is good.
RoboCop's a movie I've been watching since I was 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a movie that I've seen a billion times, and I can go back. But here's the thing about RoboCop: while it is very fun, and it's very entertaining, and special effects are great, and it's funny, and it's satirical, it's also it's super deep, and like I can't watch too many times in one year because if I watch it, I get kind of bogged down with the whole like the satirical stuff. I can get over. I buy that for $1, right? But it's the stuff about like the man versus machine stuff that kind of like, okay, I mean this is pretty deep. This is some deep shit, you know. It's not just a bunch of shooting people in the dicks, but that's also there. So RoboCop for sure. Ocean's 11, the remake.
Ooh, okay.
That's a movie that I think I watch and just you zone out, and you can just all three of those movies you just zone out and you just sit there and have a good time for 6 hours. But the first one specifically, I think is the best one.
Okay.
I think 1, 3, 2 is the order. I think you would agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
And then finally, my last honorable mention is Training Day.
Fuck.
Because King Kong don't got shit
on me.
God, I rewatched that like a week ago, and it's funny because when I help train new rookies, I'll be like, "Hey, you ever seen Training Day?" And they're like, and they're afraid to answer. Like, I go, "There are some good lessons in Training Day." Like, I mean, don't take disregard 98% of the movie, but the very first thing Denzel Washington teaches Ethan Hawke, right?
Hmm.
I'll say Ethan Hunt for a second.
Ethan
The
Hunt.
the first
Mm.
thing Denzel teaches Ethan Hunt. God damn it. Ethan Hawke is to roll your windows down so you can hear your city.
Yeah.
That's good. That's actually real police tactics.
Yeah.
So you want to hear what's around you. So I'm like, listen, take that one piece of advice. The rest of it, just you can throw it away. But watch that one scene. That's a really smart scene. So Training Day is my other honorable mention.
Mhm.
So we can
Okay.
dive into the top 10 list now. I want to start at 10 and go backwards. I
All right.
think you give me your number 10, I'll give you my number 10, and we'll go from there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think that works for me.
Do you have your top 10 list assimilated into the right order?
I do. I have it assimilated now.
Okay. All right. Because if it comes down to number one being some bullshit, I'm going to call you on it. Zach, what's your number 10 on your
My
top
number
10?
10 on this list right now is, and I thought about this a lot, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not,
Okay.
but
Lay it on me.
as far as movies are concerned, it's a movie that I've watched a lot, has a lot of nostalgia for me, specifically the fact that, like, this is a movie that I watch a lot with my family. Um, has a lot of memories of me just like watching it with my family. I like the life lessons in it. I like the characters in it. I think it's really, really well done. And that is the Denzel Washington masterpiece of Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans. That's a football movie, right?
That is a football movie.
I have never seen. I don't think I've ever seen that movie before.
Remember the Titans is a great fucking movie if you've
Who's the
never seen
white
it.
boy in that movie?
Well, that is one of the earliest roles of Ryan Gosling. He plays Sunshine in
Oh,
it.
okay.
It also has hold on, who the fuck else is in it? I can't remember off the top of my head. The white coach is somebody that like you.
What's the story of that movie?
The story of the movie is that it just basically takes place in like the 70s, where a high school football team in Virginia, um, they lose their head coach, and the school's looking to hire their new coach. They basically promised it to this defensive coordinator who's been on the team for a long time, and then to work on integration and basically making the school more diverse, they give the head coaching role to a black football coach who moves from, I believe he moves from Alabama. Um, and then basically the whole movie is like, um, just basically on the team, everybody on the team learning, about differences in each other. And I mean, honestly, the high point of the movie for me is when uh, you first have the team coming all together. They go to their summer training camp before the high school season starts, and it's just basically all of these guys who, for the most part, the black kids have never interacted with white people before. The white people have never interacted with black people before, and you have this just 4 week long marathon of them learning to be on a team together, learning that we're all just football players on this team together. We're not so different. We may have different priorities at some point, but at the end of the day, we're all on this team together to try to win the championship for our fucking high school team. And, to be, just a family at the end of the day. It's like, it's all learning about that. And then they get back to the real fucking world. The real world is like, no, stop your fucking bullshit. Black people and white people can't be together. And they're like, fuck you. We're going to fucking have an undefeated season and fucking win the championship. And they fucking do, and it's great. It's the classic Disney sports story where it's just like, it all builds up to them having the undefeated season. They fucking win the championship, and they all learn, not to judge people by the color of the skin or not whatnot.
Right.
But it's just so fucking well done, and the characters in it are so great, and it's very reminiscent of like the 70s. The soundtrack in it is fucking fantastic as far as like 70s like pop culture music. I mean, you've got like just everything. It's all just so fucking great. I love it. You got Spirit in the Sky playing. You got fucking what is it? Oh my god, it's the Sunshine of Your Love with Sunshine. Is the Ryan Gosling's character ends up coming into the scene a little later, and he's like a hippie type of character that like it's kind of like free love and all that shit. He like fucking does Tai Chi in the fucking courtyard, and all the girls fucking swoon all over him because he's that fucking heartthrob. And he ends up learning to like become more of a part of the team and like trust his teammates and like, Yeah, it's just great. I just love it. It's just great characters.
I've never seen it.
I recommend you watch it because
I
it's on Disney
really
Plus.
haven't seen many sports movies. The only sports movie I can really think that I liked as a kid was Angels in the Outfield.
Angels in the Outfield is great. Well, that's probably the biggest difference between me and you is that not only my brothers but my dad are big into. I mean, I was on sports teams a lot too, but it wasn't something like super grip me like that. But my brothers, especially my middle brother, is like super into sports. So it's like one of the main movies he always wanted to watch was sports movies. So it's like Glory
Mm.
Road, Remember the Titans, Angels in the Outfield, Glory. Like I've seen all that shit like tons of times, and um, so I'm like I got that exposure to it. But I love Remember the Titans. It's just a great fucking movie.
I think
You
for
got Denzel
me,
turning a great performance as the head coach.
as I think for me, I would rather just watch real sports than watch a sports movie. Like
That's
I
the
like
opposite. I would rather watch a sports movie than watch real
I
sports.
love sports documentaries. I love sports
Yeah,
documentaries. I have ESPN Plus just for documentaries.
yeah,
Um, but Denzel's good in everything, so I can see why.
yeah,
He's good in everything.
yeah.
Um, my number 10, I've mentioned this before recently on the podcast.
Okay.
It's a movie that I watch all the time. Every year I watch at least one of them. It's a four movie series. Lethal Weapon. I
Okay.
think Lethal Weapon is a movie. The first one specifically, Lethal Weapon, is my number 10. It is such a unique buddy cop show or film that plays on really great tropes from old buddy cop stuff. You stuff seen with Eddie Murphy, older stuff from the 50s, 60s, 70s, but it takes it, elevates it with two amazing actors. That there's no ever been a buddy cop film with two actors of this quality before. Like, I mean, like I've said it before recently that the fact that they even
Hmm.
have these two guys together is fucking insane, and the way they play off each other is so great and so amazing that it hasn't been done since. And I mean, I'm talking about my favorite
Hmm.
show of all time is Psych. This is pretty much just that white guy, black guy comedic thing. It's one's hot headed, one the other one's not. That
Yeah.
duality, Lethal Weapon is the one that does it to the best extent, and that's Shane Black writing so fucking well. And obviously, we know Shane Black's a great writer because we've seen The Nice Guys, we've seen
Yeah.
Predator, we know he's great. But Lethal Weapon is such a fun action comedy buddy cop duo cop crime movie
Yeah.
that if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it, at least the first one. And if you watch the first one, you're gonna watch. We're gonna want to watch two, and if you watch two, you're gonna want to watch three, and maybe you'll
Yeah.
stop there, but you'll see Jet Li number four, and you want to watch number four.
Oh fuck yeah, dude. Jet Li, 100%, dude.
So that's my number 10. Zach, what is your number 9?
My number 9. And this movie is a movie I've had on the list before, and it will continue to be on the list because it's a movie that I will always return to, and it always makes me smile. It always makes me laugh. It goes to that same thing of the familiar connection because I have this bond with my dad because me and my dad both fucking love this movie, and it's like every time I go back because my mom fucking hates it, and so that's an inner joke where it's like every
Yeah.
time it fucking pops up,
We bought a
I'm
zoo.
looking at my
I know.
dad. Yeah, I know. We bought a zoo, and fucking Matt Damon. I'm like, Dad, we bought a zoo, didn't we?
And
I'm like,
Scarlett
no, Dad. You
Johansson.
know what we did? We're fucking Black Bar because we're going on a Blazing Saddles trail, baby. Woo! That Mel Brooks Western parody masterpiece of Blazing Saddles.
I feel like while Blazing Saddles is a movie that I like a lot, but also I don't watch that much. I feel like I've only seen it a couple times, but also because it's a movie that wouldn't be made now. Like
Yeah,
that movie would just get denied so fast by
yeah.
today's standards. I think it's on Showtime, and I was gonna watch. Who's the black guy in that movie? I know it's Gene. I know Gene is the white guy.
Yeah, Gene Wilder's in it. I can't remember who plays the black guy.
I can't remember either.
I don't remember him being in like many other big movies after this.
I keep wanting to say Richard Pryor, but that's a different.
It's not
That's a
Richard.
different Gene Wilder movie.
Is Cleavon Little.
I don't know him. I don't know him at all.
Yeah. He's like I feel like it's like this was like the biggest thing that he was in.
I think it's really weird to me that you
Yeah.
have because it's not weird in the sense of bad, but weird because you have a comedy on your top 10 list, and I don't have any comedies on mine.
I don't know. There's something about comedies. I just really enjoy comedies. I mean, it goes back to the replayability factor where it's like there's something about good comedies that I just can rewatch over and over again.
I mean, I have one quasi comedy, but it's not really like a pure like Blazing Saddles is a pure comedy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, I get that.
Mm.
I respect it.
Yeah.
My number 9 is another action movie that I've seen 1,000 times, and
Okay.
I was literally watching it yesterday,
Okay.
and that is Speed.
Fuck yeah, the
Speed.
Keanu Reeves, baby.
This is the movie that, I mean, obviously I love Keanu Reeves, and I love a lot of his movies. I think I literally have I had three on this list of Keanu, but I have two right now. But Speed is a movie that to me showed his acting chops in the sense of being an action drama lead
Mm.
guy. Even though he's acting very like what people make fun of his range,
Yeah.
but it's effective. I think Point Break is a great movie. But what to
Hmm.
me, what sells that movie isn't really Keanu.
Yeah.
It's Patty.
Patrick Swayze, baby.
And just like in that movie, they knew that Keanu was great as the lead guy, but he needed a partner. So they gave
Yeah.
him Patty, or they gave him what's his name? Um,
Lawrence Fishburne.
no.
Oh.
Gary. What's the guy? What's the fucking weird guy? The weird white guy, with the white hair. What's his name? Weird ass face.
I don't remember.
Gary something, right? Gary, maybe.
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna get pissed off. Gary Busey.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So
yeah,
they gave him Gary Busey, and in this movie, right in Speed, my number nine, they knew
right.
Keanu was so great, but he needed a partner. So who did they give him? Jeff Daniels. So it's another perfect example of a great one. It's a great concept, and it's a great thrilling movie that leads you on your edge of your seat the whole time because you're going like, man, this we're giving you a rule set from the beginning of the movie, and we're showing you how dangerous the bad guy is, and we're showing
Yeah,
you that you have a rule set here. You better follow these fucking rules. How are you going to beat this impossible task? And it's really smart scenes. It's a huge cast of people on this bus. Obviously, Sandra Bullock, who I'm notoriously
yeah,
a anti Sandra Bullock person. But this is her best role, in my opinion.
yeah,
And it's a really great movie. If you've never seen Speed, you need to watch it. Obviously, it's a fucking legendary action film from the '90s. So I think most people have seen it. But if you haven't,
yeah.
find Speed, watch it. Zach, what's your number eight?
My number eight is a classic for me. I remember watching this movie as a kid and I fucking loved it. And as I've grown older, I've grown to appreciate it more and more for just how like solid of a movie it is. It's fucking Gremlins. I fucking love
Gremlins.
Gremlins.
One or
Fucking
two?
love.
The first one?
One. Yeah.
Gremlins 1.
I actually haven't seen two yet. I need to watch
You
two because
haven't
I know
seen
that
New
there's a.
Batch?
No, I haven't seen it, and I know because I've even recently rewatched Mike and Jay's
You
review
watch
of it
Red
where
Letter
they talk.
Media? Yeah.
Yeah, where they talk about like the batshit crazy stuff, and I was like, I've never watched it. I don't know why, but I love the first one so much. It's so great. The
That's
concept is great.
Phoebe Cates, right? Who's in that movie? Who's the girl in that movie? I always forget.
Gates.
Gremlins. Gremlins. Who is the chick in that movie?
Which chick?
In
The
Gremlins.
the main chick?
Yeah. Phoebe Cates. Okay, yeah, it's Phoebe
Is it?
Cates. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's Howie Mandel played Gizmo. I didn't know that.
He. I don't know how he does a little giggles, I guess.
Well, it's just like how Vin
Yeah,
Diesel plays Groot, I guess.
I guess. Yeah.
That's a movie that really I love Joe Dante specifically. Obviously, people love Joe Dante for that particular movie, but that movie is
Right.
such a fun anti-Christmas movie. Like
It's such, and that's the thing that I love about it that everybody forgets is that at the end of the day, Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
it's a Christmas movie, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, this would be your worst Christmas ever if this happened to
This would
you.
be they have the line where the girl talks about how her dad died being Santa Claus.
Yeah, I mean, and that's also like it's such a weird movie with some
Yeah,
really great practical effects that
yeah,
I think that I mean I think movie geeks really horror fans and movie geeks like
yeah.
Gremlins, but I feel like the rest of the world doesn't really give Gremlins the respect it deserves.
No, I don't think they do. I think a lot of people just forget about it because I think
Yeah.
it goes into that same timeline of like those other sort of movies around that era where you have like the short, tiny creatures that like do weird shit, and so they kind of like lump it into that. I think a lot of people that like
Well, it falls
the
in that
fog of time.
cult
Yeah.
classic like Tremors.
Yeah,
You know, like
Sure.
I've never seen Tremors,
Tremors is
but
great.
I know
Fucking
people
love
love it.
Tremors.
You know, I know it's a cult classic. So yeah, I think that's Gremlin's fate to be a First off, Joe Dante only makes Joe Dante movies. Like,
Yeah.
I love Joe Dante because he made The Burbs, and
Yeah.
The Burbs is a fantastic movie with Tom Hanks.
Hmm.
But he also made a movie a couple years back with Alexandra Daddario and Anton
And
Yelchin.
it's yeah, Anton.
It's
It's Burying
Barry
the
the
X,
X.
right?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
movie's
Burying the X.
awesome. Movie's awesome,
Yeah.
and it has
Fantastic film.
the girl from fucking the Twilight. Not Kristen Stewart, the other one. Don't know her name.
I don't know that.
She plays the zombie girlfriend. It's a great. Joe
Okay.
Dante is, but that to me Joe Dante almost reminds me of like Sam Raimi,
Okay.
but like less horror
I see that.
based, but more like oh no this fucking blows, but like less. I don't know. The humor is there, so I get with that.
Yeah, I can see that.
My number 8 is I had a fight for this movie to get on my list because there are so many
Okay.
movies from these directors that I wanted to be on my list, but this is the one I go to. Another cult
Okay.
classic movie, and that's The Big Lebowski.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had to
Coen
to
Brothers,
me,
man.
yeah, to me it bounces between Big Lebowski and Raising Arizona
Mm-hmm.
because one I love, um, you know me, I'm a Nick Cage guy,
Nick Cage, boy.
but also I just love the whole cast of Big Lebowski and the fact that it's an old classic crime noir that goes nowhere, ends nowhere. The whole
Yeah.
movie is literally fucking pointless. And
Yeah.
normally that would piss me off. Like normally that would really bug me, but the way
Mm.
that they do it is just a bad day for the
Yeah.
dude. And it's interesting to see what happens and how fucked up it is. And it's such a weird movie that doesn't really fit into their like it takes Fargo and like amplifies it to be in terms of like the weirdness and randomness
Yeah.
and but takes away the more of the story.
Mm.
But no other movies really seem to do that. The rest of their films kind of like have a set you know story pathway. Like
Yeah.
there's like oh hey goes here goes here goes here goes here, you know. But they all have some sort of like oh brother is just a bunch of random shit too. But
Yeah.
it follows a journey. But then like you know you have like the movie you like a lot, No Country,
No Country.
has a storyline, but it ends like shit. Whereas Lebowski purely is a, you know, this is a crime movie from the 50s
Mm.
that just shit happens to the dude
Mm-hmm.
for no reason and it ends the same as it began for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Um, Zach, what's your number 7?
This is hard, but I knew I needed to put one of the movies from this series on my list because it is one of my favorite series of all time. And so deciding which one I was going to put on there was kind of hard. But at the end, I made the decision, and I have decided from this series, kind of as a representation of the series as a whole, but for this specific movie, that Mission Impossible Fallout has made this list because I
Wow, it's
fucking
not too new.
not too new, honestly. Because for me, nostalgia wise, it would have to be Mission Impossible 2 because I
Right?
fucking that's a terrible fucking movie, but I
Yeah, it
fucking
is
love that movie. I
terrible,
fucking love that movie.
terrible fucking movie.
It's a terrible movie, but I fucking love that movie. But as a reputation for the series as a whole, I think honestly, Fallout is like the best that Mission Impossible has ever been. It's like top tier Mission Impossible for me. And I just love that series as a whole that I had to put it on my list somewhere. Um, so yeah, Mission Impossible Fallout takes number 7. I love Ethan Hunt. I think he's great. Which is funny that you were saying you couldn't say Ethan Hawke
Ethan
earlier because
Hawke.
I was like, oh, doesn't even know that Mission Impossible is about to come back around.
Fallout is the one that has.
Fallout is the one with Henry Cavill in it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
So I think that's the best one too.
yeah.
I think that's the best one besides the first one.
I think yeah. I think besides that, I think the first one is probably like the second best. I really like Rogue Nation a lot too,
Three, I
though.
mean, three's good too.
Three's good. That was the J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, there's J.J. Abrams.
Ghost Protocol is not bad.
I don't like Ghost Protocol.
It's got its ups.
To me, Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation are the same movie. They blend in my mind to be the same movie.
I don't see that.
They blend in my mind to be the same exact movie. I couldn't even tell you the storyline of Fallout or not
Well,
Fallout.
fucking Ghost Protocol is when they become rogue agents and fucking the Mission Impossible Task Force falls apart.
Doesn't that happen like 5 times?
No, it's just in this one. Because in the, well, Ghost Protocol is where the entire like Mission Impossible like agency is disbanded. In other movies, it's just Ethan Hunt is disbanded from the Mission Impossible task force. Because at the end of Ghost Protocol is when the task force is remade, and you have Jeremy Renner who steps up to become the head of it in Rogue Nation, and then Alec Baldwin ends up taking over in Rogue Nation, and then he is also Fallout.
Mm. To me, it got to the point now that all those movies are so like similar in my mind that it has to be determined by what the big stunt is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, it's like Ghost Protocol is one of the best stunts where these. That's. I mean, Fallout has multiple great stunts, which is why I love Fallout so much. But I mean, Ghost Protocol's big stunt is he's climbing fucking Dubai Tower with no fucking wires like a madman. And then you've got the Dubai Tower climb. Rogue Nation is, I believe, the one where he does the.
That's the water one.
That's the one where he dives in.
So I'm saying that's how I fucking determine now.
I don't even remember the big stunt from 3 though. 2 is
I don't know,
got
3.
2 doesn't have like a huge stunt.
Two has the hair
2 has the hair
and the face.
Yeah, and he's got the
motorcycle.
Two's got the motorcycle, and
Yeah.
it's got a lot of the mask shit.
It has, I mean, two is John Woo, so you don't have to even worry about it.
The only thing I really remember about 3 is the bridge with the jet and the missiles. That's all I remember from 3, as far as stunts are concerned.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 7. I'm gonna just quick at number 7 for me because my number 7 is it's fucking it's a given. It's Ferris Bueller Days Off.
Yeah, of course.
Ferris Bueller. It's Ferris Bueller. I mean, whatever. Fucking everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Okay, Zach, number 6. Go for it.
This one's a little new too, but I mean, honestly, after watching it and we rewatched it multiple times, and I still love it. I still think it's a fantastic movie. It's probably one of the better action movies that I've ever seen, which is Mad Max Fury Road.
Over the other ones.
I think over the other ones. I think specifically for the visual style, which I mean, Road Warrior takes place in the 80s. It is a movie from the 80s. So, I mean, you can't hold the visual style too much against it. But I think Fury Road is so visually impressive. Mm-hmm. And I think what they're able to do with making a movie that is essentially just one giant car chase, and making that something that is entertaining and compelling and something that I'm willing to watch for like 2.5 hours. I just love it. It's great.
I think my one issue with Mad Max as a whole, which I mentioned before, I think I mentioned this when we actually did our Mad Max review all those years ago.
Maybe, yeah.
Is that Mad Max never really seemed like he was mad. Like,
yeah, no, he's not.
He never really kills. He doesn't really kill anyone like a badass. He's not really super action packed. He's just like, he drives a car. Like he's crazy. But even in this movie, he never really drives a car. Really.
Well, his car gets destroyed in the first 10 minutes in the movie.
Scrapped, So like to me, this movie really is Furiosa.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the detriment to Fury Road. I think it's a great movie, but that's the problem with it, is that there's not enough Mad Max in a Mad Max movie. That's my one problem with it. But other than that, it's a really great movie. And I love Road Warrior a ton. It's probably my favorite one of all the movies. Yeah. To me, it's 2, 1, 3, and then this is a separate thing. But if I was going to order all of them, it would probably be Road Warrior, then this, then 1, then 3.
Yeah, I could see that list.
That's my order. My number 6 is The Matrix.
Oh, got to.
The Matrix is one of a kind. It's the only movie of its kind to literally combine everything that I like into one fucking movie. I'm talking about kung fu.
Except for westerns.
Yeah, except for westerns. Well, I mean, you could even say that.
You could say there's some western.
What's a western but a fucking Japanese movie?
Yeah.
That combines the action, the gunplay, the martial arts, the kung fu, the science fiction, the cyberpunk. It combines literally everything except for a car chase scene. Because it doesn't really have a car chase scene per se. It has a jump on top of cars scene. So The Matrix 1 specifically, again, that's a movie where you can end at 1 and just perfect movie. Yeah. And then 2 and 3 is fill out the storyline. But Matrix is definitely that would bounce around between 6-1 at some point, or 6-3, really, realistically at
Yeah,
some point. So
I can see that.
that's my number 6. Zach, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Yeah.
You don't want to pick Rise of the Machines number 3.
No, I don't want to pick Rise of the Machines number 3. Or what the fuck? I don't even remember.
Salvation.
What? Was
Dark
that the last
Fate.
one that came?
No,
Dark
that was
Fate.
Dark
Dark
Fate.
Fate.
Or Genesis with a Y.
Genesis with fucking.
I feel like Terminator 2. I would pick Terminator 2 on my top 10 list, but the problem with Terminator 2 to me is this. Not the problem with the movie. Is that to me Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 have to be together.
I can see that, yeah.
For me to, like, you can watch 2 by itself and it's a fantastic movie. You can watch 1 by itself and it's a fantastic movie. But to me, if you watch them back to back or in close proximity to each other, that's when you really get the full story because of the John Connor, Sarah Connor arc.
Yeah.
Is so great to see back to back. But Terminator 2, between all the movies, I think T2 is the best. Definitely the best one.
T2 is fantastic.
But I still think you should have picked Rise of the Machines. I mean,
I don't. You know what? I was thinking about it. I really, honestly, I was floating between this and Genesis. Genesis,
how bad
Genesis had
is that movie?
It is fucking, and I fucking hate that it's so bad because it's got one of my favorite actors in it, which is also the guy from Rise of the Planet of the Apes. The fuck is his name?
Who's
hold on. It's hold on. Genesis.
Jason Clarke.
Jason Clarke. I love Jason Clarke.
He plays John Connor.
He plays John Connor, and he does the worst John Connor I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Because John Connor becomes a bad guy.
Yeah, he becomes a fucking Terminator.
Yeah. He becomes a fucking T like 5000 because it's not even T1000. It's some weird like nanobite shit that goes on or some shit.
The fact that James Cameron let his fantastic series go to trash is ridiculous. It should have ended at 2. If you're gonna make it, you're gonna make it 3, it would have had to been that humanity. There was you can't just keep saying that it was gonna happen no matter what, because the end of T2.
The whole point of T2 is that they defied fate. And so the fact that you come back in the next movie and it's like, no, fate's not, fate's undeniable.
Doesn't
like,
matter.
No, that missed the whole point of the fucking movie.
Because I'm trying to think of the quote in T2. Isn't it like, the future is not set or something like that? I'm like, okay, no, it is, apparently. Apparently it is.
Apparently when Universal's in charge, the future's fucking set.
Don't matter, because people are going to keep paying money to see old-ass fucking Arnold and old-ass fucking, what's her name? Linda Hamilton and Dark Fate. Fucking trash-ass movie. My number 5 is the only movie on my list from this director. Okay. And it really shouldn't be, but it is right now.
Okay.
And that is a biopic of a movie called Apollo 13.
Oh.
Now, I watch Apollo 13 all the time. It's a movie that I think that is so well made, and for a movie that came out like 1995 or whenever it came out, or maybe 93 or something.
Yeah.
I still can't tell you how they made the space scenes. I still don't know. I don't know how. I guarantee I can Google it and watch a YouTube video how they made it. I just don't know. And to me, it blows my mind that it looks so good being that old.
It looks fantastic, yeah.
And I love I love everything about the movie in the terms of. It's the same thing I like about Jurassic Park 2, in the sense that there's a trouble happening and they show you the solution part as well. In the sense of this, I love to watch the guys in space struggling, but I love to watch Gary Sinise like working on it back home, and you get this dual story of like people struggling, and then you have all the command center and at Houston and Ed what's his name Ed
Harris.
Ed Harris. He is so good in it, and then you have Gary Sinise is so good. The whole cast is really great. And then you have fucking like Kevin Bacon plays it really well. Yeah. Bill Paxton, everyone is so good in this movie. Obviously, Tom Hanks is like 10 out of 10. Like, it really is undeniable that the 90s was Tom Hanks' decade.
That was, yeah. He had some fucking bangers there, dude.
Seriously. So Apollo 13 is a fantastic movie, and how accurate it is. And having read like biographies about Jim Lovell and all those books
Hmm.
about the missions, and then to watch it again, it just shows you how well made the movie is. So
Yeah.
that's my number 5.
Okay. Who? My number 4 is Ghostbusters.
1.
Ghostbusters
Oh,
1.
2016.
No. 1980s. 1980s Ghostbusters. Let's not drag up the past here.
I I don't get it.
You don't get it?
It's a good movie, but top 10?
I love it. I don't know. I just like rewatching it. I like seeing. I don't know. I think it goes to the same thing where it's like, I mean, Blazing Saddles made my list, where it's like, I think, but this Ghostbusters makes it for a different reason. Where I think, I mean, first of all, the cast is amazing and their chemistry is great, and I think, not even the joke aspect, but I think the aspect of real ghost hunters and like
Mm-hmm.
what would real fantastical real ghost
Hey,
hunters look like. I just think I enjoy that so much as a movie. um and
uh,
like the way that like these like average Joe, like basically essentially plumbers go like ghost
my dog's
hunting,
barking like
I think
crazy.
is so enjoyable. I know, I hear him. It's fine though. But the way that like plumbers essentially like deal with ghost hunting, I think is
Yeah,
something that is like so enjoyable to watch. Of like this just like average Joe shit, where it's just like, yeah, we're just like regular fucking
like we're
scientists, and we're like,
exterminators.
we figured out how to fucking trap fucking ethereal spirits into a fucking box.
To me,
I don't know.
it
It's
was
so fun to watch.
always the fact that I like the Ghostbusters. Oh my, Sullivan, hey, calm
What is
down,
going on?
dude. I
Calm
think you
down,
hit
bud.
something, man. Hey, Sullivan, come on. I think
Hey, man.
it was always the idea of I like the concept of Ghostbusters more than the actual like movie. I like the idea of hey, come on. I like the idea of creating this system to catch ghosts that makes zero sense, and they
Yeah.
give you no like science fact as to why it happens.
Yeah.
It's just purely Dan Aykroyd
It's
being
just cuz. Just
yeah.
cuz.
And I mean I like the idea that they have a character who's so anti paranormal, but he's the paranormal doctor.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me to have like Venkman be the guy who like has a doctor in this, but doesn't care about it at
Yeah.
all.
He doesn't care about any of it. He just cares about getting laid. That's all he cares about.
Exactly. I see that. That's number 4, right?
Number 4.
Mine is I'm not going to talk about this too much because I mention this all the time.
Okay. Back to the
That's
Future.
that's number 4.
I
What
don't
the
know. Maybe
fuck?
you talk about it all the time, dude.
No, Die Hard.
Oh, obviously. Okay.
Yeah, Die
Hey,
Hard.
Back to the Future top 5 would make sense. That's a reasonable guess.
No, absolutely, but it's me, so it's definitely not going to be anything
Well, that's true.
where where it should be in the halls of history.
That's true.
Um, Die Hard. I mean, it's the one that's probably the best action movie of all time.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
can't name one better than that. I mean, John Wick, no. Lethal Weapon's close.
John Wick's an international assassin, but John McClane.
John
John McClane's
McClane.
just a average dude. He's just the average cop.
He's just a cop trying to get his wife back,
Yeah.
and it never
Wrong
works.
place, wrong time, and he makes
It
it work.
also suffers from the same problem that Terminator has,
Mm.
where like they made too many.
Yeah. No, for sure.
You should have
Well,
stopped at 3.
it's like if you watch the recent Terminator, it's like John McClane is like a fucking superhero now.
It, right, like number
Yeah.
1, he struggles really hard. And it's literally the concept is so simple of like
Yeah.
grizzled cop fights off terror or no not terrorists but fights off bank
Terrorists.
robbers,
Yeah.
no thieves, in a tower, and it's just him struggling, and the fact that it's on HBO makes it even better for me because I can just
Yeah.
watch it 1,000 times. So absolutely Die Hard, best action
Yep.
movie of all time, also best Christmas movie of all time. Oh,
Oh, throwing the gauntlet down.
Zach, what's your number 3?
I'm not going to take too long talking about it because we already did talk about it. But number 3 is The Matrix.
The Matrix.
Fantastic
I'm
fucking movie.
surprised it's that high on your list.
Is that higher on my list? Oh,
I'm surprised that it is that high on your
oh,
list.
that is that high? I
Yeah,
don't know. I really like it. I really enjoy, especially rewatching it recently. I remembered how much I fucking love this movie,
yeah,
and I mean it's the same thing we were talking about. It hits all the stuff that
it's
I
fun.
care about as a person. Fucking the action's top notch. The gunplay is fucking sick. Slow motion matrix shots are fucking rad as fuck looking.
Yeah.
The cyberpunk is on point, and I love all the sci-fi concepts that show up in the fucking movie. I want to be in the Matrix so fucking bad. I want to
Yeah.
download kung fu into my fucking brain.
See, I don't want to be in the Matrix because then I would be a pot of jelly.
Yeah, but like, if you feel good, does it really matter?
That's hey, we could be in the Matrix right now. You don't
Hey,
know.
you never know.
My number three is Police Story. Jackie
Oh,
Chan, Police Story. I take it back. This is the best action movie of all time. There's two different types of action movies.
yeah,
American action, Die Hard's best movie of all time. Just flat
obviously,
out
yeah,
action movie. Police Story is the best like stunt movie,
yeah,
martial art movie, all around action. Jackie Chan is the epitome of stunt performance.
yeah.
Um, and I feel like people don't respect him enough over here. I
Probably
think,
not. I don't think people do.
and I get because all his best work is still in China.
I was about to say, all his best work is like, yeah, still,
It's
yeah,
Chinese. Like
across the
his
scene.
American work isn't that great. Rush Hour is fine.
Rush Hour's fine, but then you've got stuff like the Tuxedo,
The
which is like
Medallion.
area the
I don't
medallion, which is
fucking
like not
care.
not that good.
But Police Story, Drunken
Shanghai Nights is
Master,
good. I
Shanghai
like Shanghai Nights.
Nights. I guess it's just Rush Hour and Cowboys.
Yeah, but that's the best. It's Cowboys. I love that
No,
shit.
Police Story 1, 2, 3 are fantastic, especially 3. Um, fucking Project A,
Yeah.
fucking Drunken Master 1 and 2.
Hmm.
Like, you have so many good movies, but Police Story is that first time where you see him, in my opinion, top of his game,
Yeah.
modern day era, cop story, and just fucking has some of the most gnarly stunts.
Yeah.
Especially the last fight scene in the mall. Oh my, he's
Mhm.
just fucking busting through so much glass. I made a
Yeah.
video review of it like a year ago, and there's so many big ass hits. There's a scene where a stunt where they flip a guy into a fucking glass cabinet and just fucking bust through.
Hmm.
So good. The only other movie I think American movie that can even come close to Jackie Chan's like era, like American Jackie Chan movie is Who Am I?
Hmm.
And that's like old Jackie. It's like 1998 Jackie. So
Okay.
Police Story by number three. Zach, what's your number two?
My number two. My number two, my number one are actually from the same director.
Okay.
But let's start with number two. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders. So why
Fucking
Raiders over the other three?
I think Raiders. I think honestly, I just like the story of Raiders more, and it's close. It's between 1 and 3 for me because I really love the dynamic that he has with Sean Connery as his father in 3. But I think I like the story overall in 1 better. I like the globetrotting aspect in 1. I like everything that they do with Mary and her character, and like the setting up of the relationship between her and Indiana Jones that carries throughout. Unfortunately, Crystal Skull and all that shit. But it's just a great fucking movie, and it's one of the movies that it was this, and my number one is the movie that made me fall in love with, and as a kid, want to be an archaeologist because I misunderstood what an archaeologist was.
Right. I feel like I would pick Raiders as well, solely because I think Marion is the hottest one.
Yeah, I mean, Marion's great.
No, I think
She's better than the Temple of Doom chick,
oh
which I like Temple of Doom overall,
yeah.
but the girl, the Indiana girl in the movie is ugh, annoying.
No, jokes aside, I do think she's the hottest one. But in terms of the movies, yeah, it would be Raiders, Crusade, Temple, and then Kingdom, as my list of the Indiana Jones movies. But Raiders is, to me is the most fun. Maybe it's because it's the first time you see him as a character.
I think that's not also a part of it too, is that it just does such a great, especially that first like 10, 15 minutes, just such a great inner job of like introducing Indiana Jones like as a character and like what he's about, and
Yeah,
like they go into the Nathan Drake shit where it's like the globe trotting and like the treasure hunting, but it's not treasure hunting for the sake of like Nathan Drake, where it's like for the money, which and it ends up being with like they kind of do like the Indiana Jones shit with Nathan Drake, but he's really in it for the money. Which Indiana
No,
Jones is
yeah.
really in it for like the history.
The
He's
college.
in there to like the college,
It's
the
the
museum,
college,
to
yeah.
preserve the artifacts. Like that's Indiana Jones as a character, and I love the dichotomy of you start off with the globetrotting aspect, and then the very next scene is him as a professor. I love
Yeah.
that so much, where you see those two different sides of Indiana. So yeah,
My number two, and these have been my top two movies for probably 15 years, and they haven't changed. They
something
never
like
they never have changed.
no,
My number two is The Godfather Part Two. Now, this is the second best movie of all time. Nothing comes close to it. This is the second best movie of all time. The only Jason, oh no, oh, why pick this one over the first one? Here's why. Because the first one's a fantastic movie. The first one's an amazing movie. Top 10, maybe at some point, but not really right now because two is better. Number one's fantastic. You see the downfall of Michael. Number two, the rise
yeah,
of Michael. And to me, that's great. But also, what makes number two so fantastic is we get to see the rise of his dad. And to me,
yeah,
that is the only. This is the only movie besides Heat that has two such amazing actors in a movie that should not be together. Like, there's no reason to have Al Pacino and De Niro in the same movie
yeah,
because it's one person's movie. It's either fucking Pacino's movie or it's De Niro's movie, right?
yeah,
But the fact that they have both of these people in the movie and it feels like their movie, like in story wise, to see Michael become what his dad did not want him to become, and then to see the frugal beginning of his dad becoming who he was, it's like really the tragic, and like it's such a long movie, and I don't skip a single scene as you just watch fucking Michael become more vicious, and you see like Vito becoming like
yeah,
who he becomes in the first movie. It's pure amazing,
yeah.
and you can say you could swap out for the first one, I guess, just to watch the fall because the fall is interesting,
The fall's
but
interesting, yeah.
I would
But
pick two.
yeah, I think the rise is in the rise for me is more compelling than the fall.
And some would say it's actually flip flop. You know, some would say that the rise of him becoming a bad guy is the fall of Michael
Yeah,
Corleone as a character, as a human being.
yeah.
Um, but it's the best part to watch someone rise so they can fucking shoot themselves in the face later. So Godfather Part Two is my number two. Zach, what is your number one? And let me guess real quick.
Tell me.
I'm gonna guess two things.
All right.
One, it's either Jurassic Park,
Okay.
which I'm pretty sure it's Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Two, Close and oh, it's Jurassic Park.
It's Jurassic Park.
That's Jurassic Park.
It's Jurassic Park. It's Steven Spielberg, one of my favorite Steven Spielberg movies of all time. I love it. I'm a dinosaur mark for sure. I love dinosaurs 100%. I love the story in it. Characters are great. I love Dr. Ian Malcolm. I love fucking not Ian McKellen. What the fuck is his name? I
Hammond?
can't remember. No, not Hammond. Hammond. I mean, Hammond's fine,
Grant?
but yeah, Dr. Grant. I love Dr. Grant. It's one of the only movies that I like Laura Dern in because she's barely in.
God. Yeah.
Because she's barely in it. But no, it's a great movie. I love it. I love it so much. I love what they do with the dinosaurs. I love setting up of like a dinosaur theme park. So literally my dream as a child to just go to a fucking theme park that's filled with dinosaurs. We talked about it last week. That's why I went to Animal Kingdom and I love the fucking dinosaur ride because that's basically as close as I'm ever going to get to Jurassic Park.
I still wish that I knew why Malcolm was there.
Yeah, I still don't get that part either. I mean, I get the lawyer. Everybody else makes sense. The only one that doesn't make sense is why the fuck Jeff Goldblum's there.
And why is the mathematician? I don't understand why a mathematician's there. I mean, I don't. I get why Grant and why
I don't remember what her
what's
name
her
is.
fucking name?
I don't remember what her name is.
Alan and whatever her name is. I forget.
Laura Dern.
Yeah, I forget. I know they're there because they're dinosaur people, so it makes sense for legitimacy.
Well, he's a dinosaur person. She's actually a prehistoric plant person. She focuses
but they're dinosaur people.
Fauna. But yes, prehistoric people. Yeah,
they're still prehistoric dinosaur people. I mean, she's
they're
still gonna talk about
fossils.
fucking like flora and plants and shit. I get that, but
Sattler.
Sadler,
Dr. Sattler.
yeah. Ellie. Ellie.
Ellie Sattler. Yeah.
Fucking, I knew I was right partially. Maybe Malcolm's there because he's like gonna like look at percentages of how it's gonna fail. Maybe I don't know.
I think he's
Something like
supposed to be
that.
that. He's supposed to be like, because I know he was brought there by the lawyer.
Yeah,
So I think he's supposed to be like the risk assessment
I'm,
type of
I'm
thing.
I'm assuming so. I mean, that makes sense, I guess. But I mean, I don't know anything about that. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's a good number one. I could see that being number one.
Yeah.
I don't get it being number one. I don't really get it being in the top 10 either, for my own personal list. But I just don't like dinosaurs.
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest thing.
You know, the one thing I'm surprised is not on your top 10 though, Zach, is there's no Godzilla movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing. But I don't know. I love rewatching Godzilla movies, but I don't know if they're necessarily like. I mean, besides like the fucking like monster combat, the
Yeah.
stories to Godzilla movies are kind of
Oh no, we're,
lame.
we're being attacked.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
a giant pollution monster. Don't
Yeah.
throw stuff into ocean.
Yeah. Jurassic Park's a good
But
movie.
I love kaiju movies 100%. And I mean I love all Godzilla movies cuz I just fucking love big giant monster action. But I mean overall it's like a movie in and of itself. I don't know if I could put it on a list just cuz the
Right.
story, I mean
So
for those
flimsy,
movies they're flimsy and
kind of thin.
they're the antithesis of the movie where it's like I am fast forwarding until I get to the monster action.
Oh, gotcha. Well, so that's a good list. What if I ended my list with like Power Rangers the movie? How fucking
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't put it past you because, I mean, we're both Power Rangers marks, dude. So you know. But
um
look, listen, we all know that the number one on your list is the classic Matt Damon. We bought a zoo.
we
So
bought a
let's just get
zoo.
that out of the
The
way.
the dichotomy in acting skills between Matt Damon and Scarlett Johansson's top notch. And I can't believe we haven't had a
The
sequel
chemistry
yet.
there is just so it's so pure.
Yeah, and I can't
It's so
believe we haven't had a
easy.
sequel yet. We bought a zoo to part two. We lost
Look,
the zoo.
this is the fucking change.org petition right now.
Yeah.
We want the sequel to We Bought a Zoo. Matt Damon, Scarlett Johansson, I know you're out there. You're not doing anything
It
anymore.
it
Fucking
still
right.
blows my mind that that movie is a movie came out called We Bought a Zoo with those two big names in it. That blows my fucking mind. Um, I'm sure it's a fine movie. I've never seen it, but
It's
my my number one favorite movie of all time has been the same movie that has been my number one since I was 7 years old, and that is Back to the Future One. I have a tattoo of it on my arm. I have a lot of fucking merchandise of it. I'm upstairs in my place. I
Yep.
watch it every single year, at least the first one, every single year consistently. More so than anything. The only three movies I watch every single year are this and Die Hard and probably Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Consistently. But Back to the Future, I don't talk about it. It's Back to the fucking Future. Um, it's the best movie all ever made. Fucking fuck Hitchcock. Fucking fuck Citizen Kane. Fuck everyone else. This is the best movie ever made.
Yeah.
Robert Zemeckis, Bob Gale made the perfect movie, the only perfect movie, probably some would say, and they wouldn't be wrong if they did say it, because I mean that's just a fact. Everything but the cast is 10 out of 10. Nobody could make the cast better. Literally, no one can make the cast better. This is the perfect cast, lightning in a bottle. Everything about it is great.
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong with it. Now, some people recently, there was a thing that Bob Gale came out, who's the co-writer of the
Mm-hmm.
movie. They said, "Hey, how come this is apparently a long-standing controversy with Back to the Future?" And then Bob Gale came out and he set the record straight.
Mm-hmm.
The controversy is this, Zach. Well, how
Tell me.
come his parents wouldn't have recognized him as Calvin Klein when he became a teenager? Now, Bob Gale said because when they met Calvin Klein, they met him probably 2 days out of his like week there. They
I was about to
didn't
say
they
he's
didn't see
literally
him
there for
every
like a
day.
week. He's there for like a couple
They
days and
didn't
then
see
he's
him every
gone.
day. They saw him maybe at school once at lunch at the fucking getting a milkshake and then fucking skateboarding across the fucking thing at the dance for like a few minutes. So
Yeah.
when by the time they have a kid, they're not going to remember the exact details. They're blurry.
Yeah.
Now that's what people had to complain about. They had to answer. Now that mystery is solved.
Mm.
I think who fucking cares?
Who cares?
Who fucking cares? You're going to question why his parents didn't believe or didn't recognize that he was Calvin Klein? How about a fucking time traveling car? How about that? Let's go ahead and taper the fucking disbelief for a second. The
Yeah.
time traveling DeLorean. Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
That's my number one. No, I'm surprised, Zach.
Tell me.
As we end this podcast, no Star Wars.
No Star Wars this time.
No Star Wars for
No.
either of us.
No.
Why is that?
I think the legacy's been tainted.
Does that ruin your appreciation of the first three?
I don't think it ruins my appreciation for it, but I don't think it makes it one of my favorite series anymore.
Interesting.
I think the first three are still great movies, but I think the series as a whole is not as good anymore.
You know what? I'm gonna say this, and you can fuck off if you don't. I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna fuck off if you don't agree. I was at Target yesterday, and I was looking at the 4K.
Yeah.
And they released the original movies on 4K.
Yeah.
And I grabbed Empire on 4K, I believe. I held it up.
Oh, they did it individually. They didn't have it as that box
individually.
set. Okay.
I had Empire in 4K. And I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, that's Empire. And I looked over to my right, and I put down Empire, and I grabbed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood instead. And I was like, maybe I'd probably buy this instead. Now, when in the history of my fucking life,
You picked Quentin Tarantino?
Can I say that I dropped Star Wars for anything else except for Back to the Future, right?
Jesus.
And that's because the legacy of Star Wars is trashed.
Yeah.
Because even though those first three movies are still fantastic movies and ahead of their game and look
Well, now they have.
fun,
I think the main problem is that now we have a conclusion after those movies, and that conclusion fucking sucks balls.
not even that. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like all the like prestige that was Star Wars, I don't care anymore.
Mm.
It's now just eh.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. I don't need it anymore. I don't care. You know. And maybe that's maybe a Star Wars problem, I don't know, but it just I was making my list and I was like, should I put Return on here or Empire? And not once did I go, yeah. I fucking put Lethal Weapon on my list before I put Star Wars.
Lethal Weapon's great fucking series, dude.
So I don't know, man. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with more License to View.
Yes.
On your podcast feeds.
I finally have a topic.
Go ahead.
I have one.
Lay it on me.
It's gonna go back into the list thing, but lists are fun.
That's fine.
I think top 5 favorite video games.
Top 5 favorite video games. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Across anything.
Across anything, any system, doesn't matter.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah,
that works for me. All right, guys. Next week, top 5 favorite video games on License to View. So we'll see you back next week, guys.
Yeah, guys. See ya.